Welcome to Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. I'm Rob Wilson.
And I am Tony the Quano.
So, Tony, last time we talked about one of the first vampire movies ever made. Not the first, but one of the first.
One of the first, yes.
The one that pretty much defined Dracula.
Yes, that's correct.
And that, of course, was Dracula. So, let's talk about one of the most recent vampire movies.
Well, yes. I mean, I'm sure maybe there's been some direct-to-video thing that's been done in the recent months.
Yeah, but
this is the most notable one.
Yeah,
obviously,
definitely the most notable, most recent major hit of a vampire movie.
And probably the most recent hit one that's not based off some romance, teen type thing.
Not Twilight.
This is what vampires are mean again. I'm not even talking about TV series True Blood type vampires.
No, this is has
some of that silly stuff also.
This is real vampires that
badass
follow
vampires.
The vampire rules. And that movie, of course, is Sinners. One of the biggest movies of the summer.
Yes. And it's 95, 96 years since Dracula. So there's almost 100 years of vampire movies, and there's a whole plethora.
Yes.
Of them to choose from. Not just Dracula ones. We talked just about the character of Dracula last time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's obviously been other vampire movies that have come out, whether it be Vampires from John Carpenter, from Dusk Till Dawn, Near Dark, right? The Lost Boys.
The aforementioned Twilight.
Yes. Yes. Oh, Shadow of the Vampire. We talked about Nosferatu last week, right? There's another one.
Fright Night.
Both versions. Yes, another good one. There was a bunch in the late 80s. It's easy. We were too young to kind of think about it, I guess, obviously. But how, the early, that first decade of the 2000s, right? It was all about zombies.
Mm-hmm.
But then, I know the 80s had its share of slasher flicks.
Yeah.
But the mid 80s, mid 90s, there's a bunch of vampires.
Yeah. I mean, the 80s was more werewolves than vampires. 90s was more vampires than werewolves. But both of them.
We're not talking about the sexy vampires of True Blood, Twilight. No. These are vicious vampires.
The kind that Blade fights.
Oh, there's another one. So now we're back here in Sinners, though, right? Again, bringing back kind of that classic type of vampire.
Yes.
And it's, I think it's appropriate, too, because Dracula was a contemporary movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Sinners is a period piece. However, it takes place pretty much at the same time as Dracula.
It takes place 1 year after Dracula. Or at least 1 year after Dracula came out. So,
yes. One, is set in what then would have been modern day Central Eastern Europe, Transylvania, and London, right? And this one primarily takes place in 1932 Mississippi.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and this is my first time watching it, and anytime watching things for the first time, it's I'm still gathering my complete thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need multiple viewings to kind of have it all come together. Especially, it's difficult not to get influenced positively or negatively by outside thoughts.
Yes.
And I think today, especially, people kind of tend to either jump on and have to be part of kind of the bandwagon of loving something,
Mm-hmm.
or some they want to be contrarian, and so they
Yeah.
want to find ways, every reason to push back
Yeah.
against something.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you get the flip, right? If something's really hated, it's like, well, I really should hate this too. Or, well, oh no, I'm gonna be the different person. I'm gonna really like this movie,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is why
right?
it's very difficult to form your own opinion when a movie's been out for a little while and it's a movie that's this big, that is this well known, that
Especially
everybody
in
else has already formed their opinion on it, and so
contemporary culture where now, I mean, how prevalent social media is,
mm-hmm.
and how very easy it is to get to see spoilers, and it's all out there. And this has really been something, the last probably 10 years or so has really been pushed. I mean, you know, the 24-hour news cycle has been around for a while now, and even Facebook and Twitter. I feel like it's a more acute problem over the last 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Where it's much harder to kind of block all that out, especially as I think we've gone to very stream heavy
yeah
sphere of viewing movies.
Yeah, thanks COVID. Trying to destroy the theater going experience.
So it'd be easy enough to block out things, and I think I've done a pretty good job of trying to ignore. I mean, I obviously knew this was going to be a vampire movie. I knew the setting, and I knew some of the larger themes going for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to go into it as fresh as possible. And there's another movie that we hope to do soon that's also would kind of fall under some of this, and that's Weapons, right?
Yeah.
Kind of another one of the year's big hits. It's another one that, I want to make sure I go into that as blind as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I want to do that with Sinners. And I think I'm glad I did that.
Yeah.
Not that there's any major spoilers in this, but it was a good experience to be able to just experience the movie as pure as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I was somehow able to go into it somewhat blind also. This was watching it for the podcast. This was my third time watching this movie. The first time I saw it, it was still in theaters. But it was toward the end of its theatrical run. I've been sitting there hearing everybody, rave about this movie, right? But I was careful to try to limit the amount that I knew about it, right? I mean, I knew the setting. I knew that it was about vampires, and I knew that Michael B. Jordan played twins.
Yes.
But that's about...
I also knew Delroy Lindo was in it.
See, I did not know that Delroy Lindo was in it when I first saw it until he popped on screen. And I'm like, hey, it's Delroy Lindo.
Well, you see, that's a pleasant surprise.
Yes, that's a very pleasant surprise.
I feel like watching movies today, now sometimes there's a bunch of like actors I'm not as familiar with that are younger.
Mm-hmm.
But then like Delroy Lindo pops up in this movie, and like Delroy Lindo feels like he hasn't been anything in like years.
Yeah.
And here he has a substantial role.
A substantial role in this movie.
And he's not the lead, obviously. He's not, but
no,
he's one of the prominent supporting characters in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he does a great job.
He does a fantastic job in it.
And so I was like, yes, it feels good having an actor I really know it's like this veteran that's in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, especially with all these young, with all these young actors that have only been doing it for 10, 15 years.
Right. But yeah, I mean, largely the extent I knew is what you're saying. Like Ryan Coogler directed this. Mm-hmm. It's like a completely original like idea from him that he's directing.
Yeah.
And so like that was attractive to me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the other idea, as we were saying, is like, like actual vampires. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like this I can get excited for. Mm-hmm. It was when I first saw the trailer for it last year. Like, okay, this is a movie I can get behind.
Yeah.
or be hopeful for, I should say,
Yeah.
because there's not enough of that anymore. Like these like I mean, this is a studio film that was aimed to try to be a blockbuster that is an original property.
Yeah. You do not get that very often nowadays.
Regardless of, I was like, I know, like, I mean, that you gotta commend that for to go for that. So,
yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I've been going through like most of its theatrical run. I kept on hearing, it's a great movie, all this, and it needs to be seen in the theater. I kept on hearing people say that,
okay,
it deserves a theatrical viewing. And so when it was getting into sort of its last leg in the theaters, I finally had some time and I went and I saw it, and I thought it was great. And I thought it was very worthy of the big screen. I was glad that I was able to see it in the theater. And then the next time I saw it was when it first came out on HBO Max.
Right.
My dad was talking about it.
Okay.
And how he had heard that it was a great movie, and which is weird because he's usually not into more scary type movies.
I was going to ask you, like, how did your dad figure this? About this one?
I'm not sure
Seems
how
kind
he heard
of
about
against.
it. Yeah, I'm not sure how he heard about it, but he heard that it was really good and he wanted to watch it. So I watched it with him, and it was great on a TV also, not just on the big screen, but it was great on the small screen too.
On the TV screen, yeah.
Now, it was a different viewing experience because you're not there in a theater full of people. And it's not a It's not a gigantic screen that, it was on a 55-inch TV, which, isn't small, but it's not a movie theater screen.
Hey, at least it's still better than, if this was 1990, and most people probably have a 19-inch or 22-inch screen TV.
Yeah, and that was a big screen back in the day. But yeah, so, and I liked it better the second time I saw it.
Okay.
And then when I watched it today for the podcast, the third time I saw it, I liked it even better. I realized this is one of those movies that each time I see it, not only do I notice new things about it that I didn't notice before, but, obviously you're going to do that when you rewatch movies. But
right,
I appreciate it more.
Okay.
It's one of those movies that it gets better the more you watch it. The more times, at least for me, the more times I watch it, the better it gets. And what really struck me this time watching it was just, since I'd seen the movie a couple of times, I knew the plot, I knew, the story beats, all that. So I was trying to focus a little bit more on the music in it this time.
Yes.
Which the music
throughout integral to this movie.
Yeah, it is. It is very integral to the movie. But no, it is just like the music in this movie is fantastic.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that.
And yeah, so there are movies like, say, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies where, or really any James Gunn movie for that matter, where, he'll put in these great needle drops and stuff like that throughout the movie.
Right, the needle drops, soundtracks,
great,
and enhance.
Great music. But this movie, like, it would not be this movie without the music that is in this movie.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The movie in here is, all those other movies, yeah, they're great needle drops. They're great songs that are thrown there, but it's interchangeable. You could put another song in there and it would work just as well. This movie, it needs this particular music.
It needs this particular music. Yes, I would agree with that. I think that's not just a favorite. I think that's my again, being this my
Hmm.
first viewing, I think that was one of my big impressions is that the music is one of the absolute highlights of this movie.
Yeah.
Uh and for the aforementioned Delray Lindo also being a big
Yeah.
highlight of this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
uh
I love his
his
character.
his performance is probably my favorite in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do need to see it again because like I liked it. I don't know if I could say I love it yet, but again, there are movies where you need to watch it multiple times to
Hmm. Yeah.
savor
And
the
there's
experience.
so much in this movie. You're not going to catch it all in one viewing.
Yes.
There's not only is there
And
just so much going on, but there's so much vampire lore for one
well, right,
that you do
yes.
not catch the first time around.
And I mean, I think that was one of the impressions that I had first. This is why, like, again, like I don't want to always go with the first impression always in terms of saying this is a good movie or a bad movie or
Hmm.
an average movie or slightly above average. It's like it's an ambitious movie, and I was wanting, I think because there's so much, I think the other impression I had, like, they bite off more than they could chew, so to speak.
Pun intended.
Yes. Which seems actually appropriate for this. No, actually, what happens in the movie too. But
Yeah, but we're not going to get into that yet.
we won't get into that yet. No. Yeah, but yeah, I enjoyed it so far. And again, like even if it like it's hard to argue that Ryan Coogler is not a good filmmaker.
Yeah.
Even if you're not ecstatic about every movie he does, or even not if you're not
No,
ecstatic
but
particularly about Sinners, it's hard to deny that there is great skill in this movie.
yeah, I mean, it's just like, I'm sure there are certain Spielberg movies that you don't like. It doesn't mean he's not a good director. It doesn't
Right.
mean he's not a great filmmaker. He's made some of the classics.
I think
But
I mean recently did Tarantino, right? And it's like I've seen Hateful Eight a couple times. Hateful Eight's not my favorite. I know some people love
mhm.
it. I can't quite love Hateful Eight, but it's also hard to deny that there's some really great
Yeah,
filmmaking in Hateful Eight.
yeah. I mean, you don't have to like the movie in order to see all the work that went into it.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. And um yeah, again, I think it's the the music, the performances are terrific. And again, as you were saying earlier, it's ambitious, regardless that it's an original property and thought. And
Hmm.
obviously, well, that's the other thing. It's like you can see what movies he's being influenced by,
Yeah,
or filmmakers he's being influenced by. Like, um, this maybe not be a specific movie. Like, there is some Tarantino-esque stuff that's in this movie, particularly at the end.
yeah. Oh yeah,
When where you get kind of the revenge fantasy that comes in,
yeah,
right? Obviously this movie's going to borrow more heavily from vampire type movies, but not just vampire type movies, right? I think the one that obviously gets it's easy to associate with is From Dusk Till Dawn.
hmm,
And it's funny because I mean that's a vampire movie, but we have not mentioned yet either, but that's a vampire movie. But it's a movie that starts kind of one way and ends another way, right?
yep,
This movie does not start off as a vampire movie, as we'll discuss,
yeah,
and ends like that. So, and again, it ends in the similar type of environment.
yeah. It does.
Um, but as he mentioned even another Robert Rodriguez movie. Coogler mentioned another Robert Rodriguez movie, which you could tell is also heavily influenced by is The Faculty,
Hmm.
right? Which is essentially Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So it's and so forth. But there's also like The Thing is influenced within that as well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So his own love and of movies and those influences from other directors and filmmakers, you can see flow through how he makes this movie.
Yes, you can,
and you have to respect that too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and it's obviously you have Michael Jordan is in this too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
then dual roles. That's an interesting choice.
It is. So, Michael B. Jordan. So, I've always kind of been on the fence about him. Right?
I agree. I would agree with that.
I don't deny that he's a good actor, but he's never really done anything that's really, hit me. Never really done anything that's really, stuck with me. But for this movie, I think this is the best role I've ever seen him in. Was in this movie. Both roles that he plays.
Okay.
I think it really shows his acting chops. Like everybody raved about him in Black Panther. I really was not a big fan of his in Black Panther. I thought he played it too thuggish.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
But this one, he really brought his A game.
Yeah, he's a body like it's. I mean, it's a bold choice having played twins. And he gives just enough distinction between the two that really help pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree. Like I think he's fine as Black Panther, but like okay, it's I still don't think he was able to kind of rise above some of the standards that were set by Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth and
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans also.
Yeah.
So like and
even
so he doesn't rise
movie.
to that level. And even some of the other, again, like we could get into it with Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Of how the villains in general can just be kind of there. With a few exceptions, obviously, Loki, Thanos, kind of go above. And I think, when we did Iron Man, I've appreciated Jeff Bridges' performance in that more and more as I watched it more and more. But overall, yeah, the not as well defined. And I liked Michael. I like Michael, and he was fine in Creed. I thought Creed was good. I still need to see Fruitvale Station, so I can't compare it to that. And obviously, he has his TV work with Friday Night Lights and The Wire. But yeah, he does a good job here. That's Smoke and Stack.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they're called Smokestack.
Yeah. Yeah. No, their real names are Elijah and Elias.
Yes. Because, of course.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Haley, Steinfeld, which is, it's funny. Like, again, this shows I don't get to watch as many things as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I still just think of her from True Grit, to be honest.
Yeah. But she was great in that movie.
So good in that.
Yeah.
She's good in here too.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. And obviously, Jack O'Connell, and I almost kind of wish we had a little bit more of him, but sometimes it was nice that he was.
Yeah, it was
held back a little bit.
Yeah.
But once he's able to really turn it on, he is so good.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't think we get enough of that. We don't get enough of him truly turning on the villain.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much of this movie where he's still trying to hide his true nature. He's still trying to,
and he does,
tone it down.
He does a good job of that.
When he opens up, all bets are off.
And I wanted more of that.
Yeah.
I wanted more of that. But he is so good in this role because he does a good job of kind of hiding it, even though I mean, like, you know that, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and even just like
It's hard to deny that he's going to be up to no good.
yeah, and even just how
But
seamlessly he transitions between the Southern drawl and the Irish accent.
oh yes, he does it very subtly, and it's just a nice transition towards it. And yeah, he's good. It's hard to deny that he is really, really good in this movie. So, but again, he's another one. I don't know if I've seen anything he's been in. I mean, yeah, he was in obviously 28 years later, also this year. So he had two successful movies.
Don't know that I've seen anything that he's been in before this.
So, and really, his 28 years later is really at the end. He's going to be set up more for the sequel.
What, 28 decades later?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing he would have been in that, as in terms of a movie that people might know, is that 300 sequel, Rise of an Empire.
Yeah.
But, any good movie like this needs the appropriate villain. And he definitely goes for it. So,
yes, he does.
But yeah, so yeah, I enjoyed it. I want to see it again. I think I just I want to experience it again, having the full picture and then going back through it to again find the things I missed. Because like the first part of this movie, it jumps all over the place. It's a lot of exposition. And then it really starts to turn itself on a little over halfway through the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm just, in terms of all this setup, how does that work? And I need to see it again to kind of get a true assessment on the movie. But that's me.
It's definitely a movie that warrants multiple viewings. I mean, like,
and as you said,
there's just so much in it. You won't catch it all on the first viewing.
And as you said, it's got plenty of strengths, whether it be the music, some of the acting is terrific. Its originality is another absolute strength of this movie. So, and just vampires being badass again. So, yeah, that's my kind of my initial thought on it before we jump into it.
Oh, and one other person in this movie that it was good to see that I haven't seen in a while in a movie was Omar Miller.
Yes.
Omar Benson Miller's Cornbread.
Yep.
Yeah, he was great in this movie. I haven't seen him
in a while either.
In a long time. I think the last movie that I actually saw him in was when he played Anthony Anderson's cousin in Transformers. He just had a small role in that movie,
small role.
He had a tiny little role in that movie. But
he makes, he's got a larger role here.
Oh yeah,
not a huge role, but a larger role, and it's an impressionable role too.
Yeah, he's got an important role in this.
Yes, yes, he does. But yeah, that's all I have to say for now before we jump into it.
Well, let's get into it, because we can't go too much longer without spoiling some stuff. So, as always, spoiler alert.
Yes.
We are going to be talking about this entire movie, beginning, middle, and end. So if you have not seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, then pause the podcast, watch the movie, and come back and listen. If you have seen it or you just don't mind being spoiled, then keep on listening. But we are going to be spoiling this movie. We're going to be talking about every bit of it. And it's important because it's still a fairly recent movie. So,
yeah. Yes, it is.
Anyway, so when we start out, I like the way that like the little intro that goes in.
I like when movies kind of start this way.
You get kind of an artistic, like drawing kind of cave painting kind of.
That's a
like
cave painting type is what I was going to say.
Type like tribal art type of thing, and then you hear a voiceover. You hear Sam Elliott saying, "Sometimes there's a man." I ain't saying a good man, but sometimes there's a man that'll play his guitar.
First,
He'll transcend time.
This is a pretty appropriate connection, to be honest.
Yes.
I see where you're going with it.
No, you don't get a Sam Elliott voiceover,
I think
but
it works.
You do get a voiceover.
No, it's actually I'm afraid to butcher her name, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Unfortunately, but Wunmi Mosaku.
Yeah, Wunmi Mosaku. Yeah.
Which we don't again, when you get a voiceover at the start of a movie, you're not necessarily knowing exactly if it's just kind of like a outside character, almost like the stranger, right?
Yep.
That kind of acts as the chorus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's a character within the movie. And as we discovered, she will be a character in the movie.
Yes, a very important character within the movie.
Named Annie.
So basically this voiceover is talking as it's going through these different like art pieces, sort of describing what she's saying, right? Sort of showing what she's talking about. She's basically saying that, sometimes there's, certain music is so important that it transcends time.
Time.
It connects people, and it can be used as a force for good, but at the same time, it attracts evil. And then
they focus on she focuses on three kind of cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Chooses specifically certain African cultures, some Native American cultures, and an Celtic kind of Irish culture.
Yeah, and she goes through and says what this evil is
the
called,
names that they give it.
Yeah, what the names that they give that these different cultures call this evil, and
yes,
and basically how if you have this gift of music, this particular musical gift, then you got to be very careful with it, because yes, it can heal the world, but at the same time, it can destroy it.
And it ends, as talking about evil, and this kind of ends on these really tiny red beady eyes, right? And then the title card of Sinners comes up, right? And it's behind that, and then it kind of just fades to black, and you just kind of end with the small red dots.
Yep.
Before fading into the time period of the movie. And we see we're in Mississippi on October 16th, 1932.
1932. And we see an old car pull up to a church.
Yep. And it's kind of just stopping, pulls up, like you said. And one man gets out, and he's just got a neck of a guitar in his hand.
And he looks like he's been
broken
through
off
some stuff.
He's seen some shit.
He looks like he's been to hell and back.
Right. And again, so, this looks like what you kind of might expect something to kind of look in early 1930s, Deep South, right?
Mm-hmm. Just a little tiny little one-room church. Right.
Yep.
That probably doubles as a one-room schoolhouse. But yeah, and he doesn't drop this guitar neck. He opens up, he pushes open the doors, and you hear somebody call his name, Sammy.
Right, Sammy. So this is Miles Caton, Sammy Moore,
and you still kind of just see his silhouette in the doorway because the sun's bright behind him, and then as soon as this woman yells Sammy and stands up, then you got the preacher up at the front. Well, actually, as he's walking up, you hear the children's chorus singing.
That's right.
And so he opens the doors and they all go silent. And then you hear the woman say his name, and the preacher calls over to her, and he's like, quiet, don't right now. And then he sees him. He's like, Sammy, get up here. Get on up here. Drop that guitar.
The preacher is his daddy.
Mm-hmm. The preacher is his dad, and the woman that said his name, that called out to him, was his mom.
And the preacher, played by Jedediah Moore, is played by Saul Williams. And you can tell he is not happy with his son. No. He thinks his son is going around
courting with the devil,
fornicating, drinking, all of that.
Because he wants him to drop the guitar because he doesn't want him to play the music that he plays because he thinks it is of the devil.
Yes. And he goes through kind of your typical kind of Baptist type of fire, brimstone type of speech, and how he's going to call on his son to renounce this sin.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we don't know it yet, but because, again, he's the preacher's son, his nickname is Preacher Boy.
Yeah, Preacher Boy.
Which we don't hear yet. We'll get that later.
We see as he steps in through the door to the church, as we actually get a decent look at his face, he's got these scratches down the left side of his face.
Yes.
Like somebody just took their hand and just gouged at the side of his face with their nails.
Yeah.
Or like a bear attacked him or something. And like they're deep, deep cuts. And so, he sort of stumbles into the church. And while he's coming in, you kind of see these flashes.
Yes. Yeah, these flashes going back and
flashes
forth
of Jack O'Connell with red eyes. And then, just flashes, like these quick little split second
and then
flashes.
Just his daddy just getting angry at him. And again, he's going to have his son, and we'll discover later that he actually wanted his son to preach that day.
Mm-hmm.
That Sunday.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But instead, now he's going to be this example. He's going to renounce sin.
Mm-hmm.
Renounce the evil you did.
So he calls him up, and his dad, embraces him. Right? He hugs him, but he's still not dropping that guitar neck.
Oh, no, he's
still not dropping. He's still holding on to it. And then we get, we get a little flashback to 24 hours earlier.
Yep. And not just a little flashback. I mean, the rest
of the movie.
The rest of the movie is basically leading back to this scene.
I mean, a little flashback it's just a day. It's not like a flashback of years. It's just
not like 10 years.
Little flashback as in like the time difference between now and then. But yeah. So the rest of the movie pretty much takes place the previous day.
Yes. And now they're in a cotton field. Sammy's picking cotton.
Sammy's picking cotton.
And we realize that they are sharecroppers, right? Again, this is
the 30s.
Early 20th century South.
Yeah.
Right? Not slaves anymore, but, they're trying to do the best that they can in the Deep South. Right? They have their family, they love each other.
Yep. So he finishes up his quota for the day.
Sees his mom, tells her, "Good morning, Mom."
Yeah, his mom's out washing laundry. She's got the bucket and the washboard and all that, and she's
1930s.
She's doing laundry.
Only the rich people are going to have ways to clean these clothes that don't involve manually cleaning them yourself.
And so he walks up and, he's like, "Hey, Mama." And he starts, washing himself in the in the water she's using, in the bucket. And he grabbing handfuls of water, putting it under his armpits and stuff. And she's like, "Don't do that. Don't use that water. You're going to dry your skin out." So, he starts splashing her, starts getting playful. They're laughing. And he gives her a kiss and goes on his way. And then he goes to the church where his father is preparing his sermon for the next day.
Yep.
And this is when we find out that he's supposed to help his father preach.
Yep.
In church the next day.
His father has the very selection of scripture picked out that he wants his son to read.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And he goes into the church because his father has taken his guitar.
Yep.
And the guitar is sitting in the church. So he goes in to get the guitar.
He wants to play music today.
Mm-hmm.
He's ready to play music today. He did it. He's worked. He filled his quota.
Mm-hmm.
Now he wants to do what he loves to do, which is play the guitar.
Yeah. And his dad doesn't want him to do that. His dad thinks that, blues music is evil.
It's the devil.
He
somehow his
Boucher's
dad
mother
and Kathy Bates are related. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how.
They would get along great. His dad and Bobby Boucher's mom would get along great. But anyway, so before he can get the guitar, he's got to sit through everything that his dad is telling him about. How I don't want you playing that music. I don't want you. You're going to be here tomorrow, and you're going to help me preach. Here's the scripture that you're going to be reading. And all he wants to do is get his guitar and go and play. He wants to go out and play his guitar all night.
Mm-hmm.
And then a car pulls up outside, and it's his cousin.
It's the car we saw him pull up in
earlier. Yeah,
just earlier. Which we'll see which will be tomorrow. But right, it's that nice red shiny car, and it's his cousins,
Smoke and Stack, played by
Elijah
Michael B. Jordan
and Elias. Elijah is Smoke. Elias is Stack.
Yep, and the way that you tell them apart is Smoke wears a blue hat, Stack wears a red hat.
Very simple device to distinguish them.
Yeah. Now they're different styles of hats. But yeah. Smoke wears a blue, Stack wears a red. And Smoke's shirt's also blue. And then
yes.
Stack's shirt is more of a red color, reddish. Mm. So even when they're not wearing their hats, you can still kind of tell them apart.
We discover, though, that they have just come home and they've been in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. They've
been working with Al Capone, supposedly, or they've been involved with Al Capone and that racket, so to speak.
Yeah.
We don't know why they've come home. Maybe there's too much heat up there and they just had to come back down. No, that's not really that important. But the important thing is that they're coming home. And they have money now.
They have money now, and they're there so that they can pick up Sammy. So Sammy grabs a guitar. Once they get out there, Sammy grabs a guitar and runs out to him.
And his dad is still not too happy that he's hanging out with them. He knows what those boys have been up to in Chicago.
Yeah. He knows that they are bad influences on his son. And so they, get in the car and they drive off. And so after they drive off, then
and I should say too that the scripture passage was 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 13.
Yeah.
About there being no greater test or temptation that God will give you can't actually that you can't take, essentially, right? But anyway, so they drive off.
Yeah, so
they kind of park in the middle of this kind of like cornfield.
Yeah, they
right?
kind of, and
they're about to split up. But they get out of the vehicle, and there's a truck kind of waiting for them.
That they've sort of hidden it in the brush a little bit.
Yep.
And so they go and they get to the back of the truck. There's a big blanket over the back, and Smoke grabs a blanket and he sort of tosses it back, and there's a rattlesnake in the bed of the truck. And it kind of surprises them a little bit, and so they're all standing real still.
It makes sense.
Stack reaches down to his side. He's got a trench knife in a sheath on his belt. And so he grabs that and he tosses it over to Smoke. Smoke grabs it, and just as the snake is going to bite him, he stabs it in the head and pins it down to the bed of the truck. And then, takes the knife out, tosses the snake on the ground, and it's just there and bleeds to death. And so that's when they tell Sammy, they're having a little conversation though, where like, we aren't going to have time.
Yeah, we're behind schedule. We shouldn't open tonight. We get things set up.
We missed something.
Something we did important. Miss something.
So before they picked up Sammy,
they meet this white guy.
They were introduced. Yeah, we were introduced to them standing outside their car, smoking the blue hat, Stack in the red hat, and they meet this white guy who's selling them an old mill.
Yep. So they go to the mill. He shows them around, and he's wondering, what are you gonna do? Like, like, no, we're just interested in buying this. And he's like, "You sure you can buy this?"
Mm-hmm. He's like, "You sure you boys are gonna be able to buy this?" And he's like, "That's the last time you call us boys."
That's right.
And then Stack, will Smoke sort of motions to Stack, and Stack tosses over a big old bag full of cash.
Yeah.
It's like, there you go. And Smoke, you can tell, is the talker.
Yes.
Of the two of them. He's sort of the leader of them, of the two. And so he tells the guys, like, so there's your money. And from here on out, if you or any of your Klansmen set foot on our property, we will shoot you.
Yep. Because Klan doesn't exist anymore. Right?
So, yeah. So he kind of brushes it off, kind of laughs it off, and, he leaves.
But yeah, they intend to, they just tell him that, they intend to fix it up a little bit, and then they're going to make it, into a little venue where you can drink, listen to music.
Yeah, so, they don't tell him that. They just tell him that they want it, and they're going to fix it up a little bit.
That's it. That's all they say. That's right.
But so their intentions for it are to make it a juke joint.
Juke joint. Yeah, that's the intention.
But yeah, so then
when we get back to the truck.
Back to the truck.
So they kill a snake, and then they look at it, and that's like, no, all right, well, I think we should just set up, and then open next weekend.
And yeah, so Stack suggested that, and the Smoke's like, no, we got to do it tonight. We'll have time if we split up.
Yep.
So Smoke takes the truck, Stack takes the car, and Sammy.
Yes.
And then we get Smoke. Then we get him. He's going into town.
He goes into town.
He drives into town. He parks.
It's like kind of the central business district, right? Again, this is the early 1930s. It's kind of that cross between kind of what you might imagine, a town center looks like in the late 19th century, but, it's not up to that standard of the, towards the mid 20th century, right?
It's a dirt road. It's
dirt road, but the facades, they're a little bit more well built than what you would expect something from the 1880s or 1890s look like.
But it's still, your general store kind of thing. And,
obviously there's more automobiles and just horses that would be getting people there, right? But some people that's what they rely on is a horse still, right? It's 1931. 32, Mississippi. It's a rural area, right?
So he parks the truck, pulls it up to the curb and parks it, and he calls over to a teenage girl, played by Aiden and Calarde.
And he recognizes her and just realizes like, oh yeah, she's like this teenage, like I remember like when you were a baby.
Yeah. And he's like, you know who I am? She's like, yep, I do. So, okay. So do you know how to count? Do you know how to tell time? She's like, yes. So, okay. I'll give you 10 cents a minute. 10 cents for every minute that you're in here. If you just sit up in this truck and if you see anybody mess with the back of this truck, you honk this horn.
Honk the horn.
That's all you got to do. Just honk this horn.
And she's more than happy to accept this.
And yeah, so she's like, okay. He's like, no. I just offered you 10 cents. That's not enough, is it? You need more. The money is changing hands here. That's fluid. You got to go higher. We got to negotiate here. So I offer you 10 cents. What are you going to say?
She says 50.
She's like 50 cents. He's like, nah, I can't do 50. The most I can do 20 cents. That's my top dollar. That's the most I can do. She's like, okay. So he's like, all right, 20 cents for every minute that you're sitting out here.
She should have said 25.
She should have. But hey, this was her first negotiation.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I appreciate she went high on that next one. She shot over the moon on that one.
Yeah.
But it went down to 20. She should have 25, and they could have gone down to 22.
Or she should have. He went to 20. She should have gone down to 40. Then maybe they could have met in the middle at 30.
Got up to 30. Right? Or anyway. So she agrees. She gets up there. He gives her his watch so that she can sit there and watch and tell the time, tell how many minutes she's been in there. And he goes into the store. He goes into the market, this little store,
and walks up to there's this little Asian girl behind the register at the counter. He's like, "Is that little Lisa Chow?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Yup." This little girl with like this big accent. Right? This little girl with a big accent. And he's like, "Your daddy around?" And so she, yells out for her pa, and her dad comes out, Bo Chow. Comes out and he's like, What's going on? And then he sees smoke. He's like, "Wait, you're back in town? What are you doing here?" And they go up and they're first off, he kind of treats it like when Han and the gang get to Cloud City and Lando shows up. You got some nerve coming here after what you pulled. He kind of starts acting like, "What are you doing here?" And then he lightens up and they greet each other. So he's like, "Well, I'm opening up the juke joint tonight. I'm gonna need catfish for 100 people." He's like, "All right, we can do that." And then he hears a honk. He hears the horn honking in the truck.
So he goes outside. Gets his gun drawn.
He's got a 1911 in a shoulder holster. And he walks out there, and there's two guys digging around the back of this truck.
And that girl, she is yelling at someone that's digging back in that truck.
"Somebody's robbing you! Somebody's robbing you!" She's honking that horn, doing exactly what he asked her to do. And he walks back there, and he just shoots one of them in the ass.
Just right in the ass.
Shoots him right in the cheek. Right in the right cheek.
Right in the fleshy part of the butt.
So the guy, stumbles back. He's like, "Oh, what's going on? Ow, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" Then he sees who it is. He's like,
"You didn't know this was yours?
I didn't know this was your truck." And then the little girl,
I tried to tell you.
I told you it was his truck. He's like, "But I thought you was lying." Then the other guy, sort of backs out, and he's sort of starting to run away a little bit and just gets some distance. It's like, "Why are you shooting me?" He's like, "Why are you digging around in my truck?" So they obviously know each other.
Yep.
And so he tells him, he's like, you might want to go get a doctor look at that. And his buddy is still standing over there sort of at a distance. So Smoke shoots him in the knee. He's like, why the hell did you do that? He's like, well, I can't have you going and saying how you almost robbed Smoke, without something to show for it.
I feel bad for the second guy. Getting shot in the fleshy part of the ass.
Yeah.
That they can recover fairly well from that. Getting shot in the knee?
Yeah, that's going to screw up your life. You're never going to walk straight again. Like, it wasn't even like if it was the thigh above the knee, it was in the knee. Like, that bullet goes through his knee.
The other guy, this is like, I got shot in the buttocks.
So
he goes back in.
Yeah, he goes back in, and he's talking to Bo, and he's like, we may need a sign. So we may need Grace, Bo's wife, to paint us a sign.
They have a second shop that's across the street. So the daughter goes across, gets mom, comes back, right?
So the daughter,
a negotiation session this time.
Yeah, the daughter watches the register at the other shop while the mom comes over, and so they're like, now they're going back and forth on price. They're actually having a negotiation. And then, once they settle on an amount, then he sees some flowers sitting by the register over on the counter. He's like, and throw in those flowers too. And so, they throw in the flowers, and then Grace lets him know, oh, by the way, I've only got one color.
That's right.
And he's like, what color is that? She's like, red. Like, oh, okay, it'll be red sign. It'll be painted in red. She's like, all right, I'll have it ready for you tonight.
And so we can continue on. Now that they're collecting their characters, right?
So
to bring into the situation.
Yeah, then it cuts over to Stack and Sammy.
That's true.
And they get to the train station. And they're walking along. They're walking along the. They're walking by the train,
and they get by like the little depot. And the one in the depot, there's a man there performing some music,
playing the harmonica.
Delta Slim
playing
his harmonica. Exactly.
Delroy Lindo.
People kind of giving him some money. This is kind of like the one scene where like. Probably get a bit more of a true mix of like races kind of going back and forth, right? And you even see on the train station, this definitely details it's Jim Crow, right?
Yeah.
You have your coloreds only waiting area, whites only waiting area, colored bathroom, whites bathroom, right? It details that.
Yeah. So real quick before they get to the train station though, we got Stack and Sammy. They're driving down the road, and Sammy's got a guitar. And Stack's like, you know how to play that thing? And so Sammy,
that's right. Yeah, so he plays just for
guitar. He starts playing. Starts playing the song "Traveling." And as he's playing, Stack does not hide his surprise, his shock at how good Sammy is.
How good he is, yeah.
So he gets excited. He's like, we're going to make some money tonight.
Like, he's got the voice. The music that he plays is good. He likes the lyrics. It all comes together for him, right?
And whose guitar is it that he says it is? Because he asked where he got that guitar. Like, Sammy asked, because
that's right.
Smoke and Stack gave him that guitar. And so he's like, where was it that you got this? Then, I'm trying to remember. It was some, classic blues musician, right? some famous blues musician. And so, then they get to this train station and they go up to they meet up with Delroy Lindo with Slim.
And Slim. He wants to recruit Slim to help provide music.
Mm-hmm. And Slim's like, I don't play with other people. I'm a solo act.
And I already have an act. And this place has been around this many years. And I know in 10 years, they're still going to be around.
I get paid $10
I don't know if they're just a one-night act. And if
He's like, they pay me $10 a night. I've been there every Saturday for the last 10 years. And I'll be there every Saturday until I'm not around anymore. For the next 10 years. And I don't know if I have that much time left. And so Stack's like, well, I'll give you $20. I'm offering you $20 to play at my club. He's like, no. You're telling me to give up. They pay me $20 per night. You're offering me $20 maybe tonight. Don't know if you're going to be around tomorrow.
Plus, they let me drink anything I want.
So I get my $10. I buy as much corn mash as I can, and I get drunk. So
it's honestly not a bad deal for him.
No.
Because he gets his own, the other days he's right there. He's getting some money there at the train station playing his harmonica.
Mm-hmm.
He gets what he wants. He gets what he needs. He's taken care of, right?
Yeah. So Stack motions to Sammy, and Sammy pulls out a beer bottle and hands it to Stack, and Stack opens it up, pulls out a bottle opener, opens it up, and he goes, and this gets Slim's attention. He's like, "What's that?" He's like, "This is an Irish beer from Chicago.
Straight from Chicago.
And he goes to pretend like he's about to drink some of it. And Slim's like, wait. He's like, here, try some. And so he gives him a sip of it. He's like, you come and play for me tonight. I'll pay you $40 and as much of that beer as you can drink.
Well, that was enough
of
an offer for him.
And if you act now, I'll even let you finish the one you're holding. So Slim's in. Then we have them. So then Slim and so then it cuts. They're still at the train station, but now Sammy's got his guitar out and he's playing, and Slim has his harmonica and he's playing. They're playing together, and there's a crowd forming. And there's this one girl in the crowd.
Pearline. I guess there's two girls. Pearline's the first one we see, right?
Mary doesn't come just yet.
Yeah,
Pearline is standing. She's part of the crowd, and she catches Sammy's eye. So, when they're done playing, then he goes over and he talks to her. And, he's kind of flirting with her a little bit, and she's like, she introduces herself. She's like, my name's Pearline. He's like, I'm Preacher Boy. They call me that, or I guess they don't. That part doesn't come till later, but he tells her, they call me Preacher Boy. And she's like, oh, I'm married, by the way. And he's like, happily? And she kind of doesn't answer.
Nope.
She just tells him, you better be careful.
There's truth to that.
So then she walks away. And then, he tells her about the juke joint. They're going to be playing that night, and she should come by. She doesn't tell him if she's going to or not. She leaves. And then there's this girl, Haley Steinfeld.
She's coming off a train.
She's getting off the train, and she looks over and she sees what's going on over there.
And she starts walking over, and she's kind of.
Well, first she's just kind of staring. She's kind of just staring over there, and Sammy sees her, and he goes over to Stack, and he's like, "Hey, there's a white girl over there who's staring at you." It's like, "Oh no, who is that?" It's like, it better not be who I think it is.
And he asked specifically, like, does she?
Mm-hmm.
She's what? Is she pure white? Does she look white? Right? He's asking these questions, right? And
yeah, because he has an idea of who it is, So he's kind of trying to confirm. And so she comes walking over. And so he's like, get rid of her. And so Sammy's trying to stop her. And, she gets past Sammy.
It's just, I love her attitude. She's like, boy, you have no idea who you're speaking with right now.
Idea. Yeah, I love it. But yeah, so she's like, is that Smoke or Stack? And then Stack, like, he turns around and he's like, hey, Mary.
And marries his ex.
Yeah, marries his ex.
And what we don't realize is that, Mary is not really not, she's half black, right? But she appears
she's
to be
a quarter.
white.
She's quarter
passing.
black.
Quarter black. That's right. Yes.
But yeah. But we don't find that out until later.
Yes.
But yeah.
Which is why Sammy's like, oh yeah, there's this white girl, right?
Yeah. So she starts going off on Stack, right? Because they're exes. She clearly was more in love with him than he was with her.
Yes. And he just kind of ditched her.
Yeah, he kind of ditched her and went to Chicago.
And it's not just that he ditched her, but also that she's hurt that that she feels that her mother treated him well and did not do anything, said nothing after her mother died.
Yeah. So basically, what we find out in a little bit when she's talking a little bit more thoroughly with Sammy is, her mother basically raised Smoke and Stack.
Yes.
They were real close.
The only piece we kind of get right now is that she says, Mama died. When Mama died, he didn't even send flowers. He just left to Chicago. And when Mama died, he sent nothing.
Because her mom had just died. Right? Like,
yes, it's a very recent thing.
Yeah, it's a very recent thing. She was actually just getting back into town from burying her mother.
That's right. That's what she does say that. Yes. So, she has a right to be not just angry about kind of how the relationship ended, but kind of how she sees this kind of cold, callous way, of viewing her mother's death. So,
yeah. And so, and it's also important to mention, we haven't mentioned yet, that before going up to Chicago, Smoke and Stack both fought in World War I.
Yes, that's important too.
So they left to fight in the war, and then they went to Chicago. But we leave the train station. Leave the train station, and then we get.
This is when we go. They jump around.
Yeah. So then we go over to Smoke, and he pulls the truck up to. It's just a little house, just a small house, kind of a shack.
Small house, just shack. Yep.
It's got out by itself somewhere. It's kind of
looks like it's probably mostly one room. It's got a chimney going up, so there's this wood stove or fireplace that's in there.
Yeah. So he parks the truck outside the house, and he gets out, and he's got those flowers in his hand that he got from the shop, and he walks over. There's this little grave on the ground. And he walks over and
we heard earlier in the movie that we kind of forgot about is that the twins probably killed their father because their father was beating them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They did not have a good
no one knows the exact thing about what happened.
Yeah.
But that's the general idea.
Yeah.
And when they first show up, we were wondering is he visiting their father's grave? Right?
Yeah, but no, he walks up and he kneels down, he puts the flowers down, and he says, Papa's here. So, and then it actually shows a close-up of the grave, and it's clearly a child's grave. Just from the kind of stuff that's set up there.
Yeah, it's very, very simple, small things. And
then...
So he talks there, he sets him down, and he goes...
And then you hear
towards the house,
voice. You hear a familiar voice, because it was the voiceover at the beginning.
It's Annie.
Wunmi Masaku, I think is how you pronounce her name.
I think that's how I would say it. Yes.
But anyway, so you hear her voice. She's calling over to him. He's like, "Is that Smoke?" And he comes to talk to her, and she's wondering what he's doing there.
And he's interested in having her cook.
Yeah. And well, first of all, there's some girls buying stuff from her because in her house she's got a little shop going on in there, and
tells them what to say to their mama.
Yeah. So she sells the stuff, and they give her play money. Right. They pay for it with play money, with like Monopoly money, kind of thing, and. Which this is actually a really important point for something that happens later in the movie. It is. So, Smoke starts going on. It's like, I can't believe you're accepting this for these these herbs and stuff that he's selling them, or that she's selling them. And he's like, hey, it's what they have. They don't have money. This is what they can pay with. So, she takes a little wad of play money from him and puts it in her little box.
Right. So you find
out that these two were married and they lost their baby.
Yes.
And when they lost their baby, that's what kind of split them up. Smoke went his way. She stayed around there. And then she's like, do you still have the hex bag? And he opens up his shirt and he's got a little bag hanging around his neck.
And we see that. So we learn that she's a hoodoo practitioner.
She's a hoodoo practitioner. She is from New Orleans. And, so she's from the deep South.
Mm-hmm.
Where you got all the hoodoo and the voodoo and stuff like that going on. She particularly is hoodoo. And, she opens up the hex bag that she made for him, to protect him. And,
but he's like, well, did it protect our baby?
Yeah. He's like, it didn't protect our baby. He's like, no, but it got you through that war and, got you through
Chicago, and you're back here now.
Mm-hmm. So she takes it and she's, adding stuff to it. She's, sort of praying over it and stuff like that. But yeah, so then this is when he tells her that, he wants her to cook at the juke joint tonight. And then, they have a moment.
A moment? At first she's reluctant, and then they have a moment.
Then they have a moment, and it's a good thing no more kids walk in at the time. Because the stuff that they're doing is definitely not for child's eyes.
Anyway, so it's
so from there,
that's a way of putting it.
From there, it cuts to the sun is starting to set.
Right. It's starting to set. Well,
it's starting
stacking them.
Well, no, we're not at stacking them yet.
Okay.
It cuts to another house out with like some wheat fields or
I thought stacking them collected a few more people to help them.
That's after this part.
Okay.
So yeah, so it cuts to a house, like a farmhouse, basically. Another little small shack type of a house, but a little bit bigger than the one that Annie lives in.
Bigger than the one we just saw.
This one has multiple rooms.
This has multiple rooms.
But
yes.
We see this guy, stumbling past the field.
He's kind of smoking.
So the sun is starting to go down. It's sunset. The sun's not down yet, but it's
like you get the sense this is summer, right? So you kind of have that long, slow sunset. Wait.
No, I guess we did meet Cornbread before Smoke went to the house to meet Annie.
Right. We met Cornbread. We met Cornbread. Right. He's out there. He's picking cotton.
Cornbread and his wife Therese. So yeah, Cornbread is out picking cotton. They drive past a chain gang,
Yeah,
and one of the prisoners tries to escape, and he gets shot. But yeah, and they pull up to the field where Cornbread
and Delta kind of salutes all of them. Mm-hmm. It's like he used to be on one, and then they brought him, and he played music for all these rich white people, and he got all this money. They released him with one of his buddies, and his buddies tried to leave town, and then the Klan killed him. Right, gives this kind of story, and then we get to the cotton field, and they're picking the cotton.
Yeah, Cornbread and played by Omar Miller, and his family are picking cotton, and Stack calls out to him and comes out to talk to Stack and tell him he needs basically a bouncer for tonight. And Cornbread's like, no, I'm already behind quota. I can't leave now. And so he has a few choice words for Cornbread's wife. And Cornbread he comes up, he starts
like, no, you shouldn't be talking with him.
Mm-hmm.
But then once she finds out that
he's like, when she finds out how much money you're going to be making tonight, then she'll do things for you.
And he's just like, how about you show her some respect? And she's like, how much talking about? And so Cornbread agrees to go with them.
Yeah. So he gets in the truck too, and they go.
But then that's it. So then we see this guy coming through.
Yeah. So back to this other house, this farmhouse, and this guy is coming. He's stumbling
again. It's Jack
past
O'Connell.
The field. It's Jack O'Connell, and he's like got sores all over his body, and his skin is kind of, there's like smoke coming off of him.
Yeah. Right. And you're like, wow, that looks weird.
It's like, what?
Like, how'd this happen?
Mm-hmm. Did he just, escape getting burned at the stake or something? But
he doesn't look like a witch.
Yeah, so he goes up and he knocks on the door to this house. And
this guy opens the door. He's got a rifle pointing right at him.
Yeah, this guy named Bert. He opens the door.
And his wife, he's got a wife. She's there too.
His wife's Joan.
And he's like, he's begging them to let him in because he just escaped from these Indians that were hunting him.
Yeah.
And he needs shelter.
And then he looks past the guy and he sees a Klan robe in the other room.
A whole Klan robe.
And so the guy's like, and they're, Bert, played by Peter Dramanis, and Joan, played by Lola Kirk. They, they're trying to get him to leave because they don't want any of what he's bringing. And so then he's like, I got gold. You can have it. And they're like, oh, okay. So they let him in. They invite him in. And so, he goes inside, and then some cars pull up. And so Joan stays at the front door. And it's a group of Native Americans.
Yep. And they say they're chasing after this guy. And he's dangerous.
And, Joan's like, oh, we haven't seen anybody. And, we'll let you know if we do. Like, all right. And they get back in their cars and they drive off.
It's like, well, and they're looking at the sunset, like, they're looking at the sunset also.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the guys there, it's not the leader. It's like, hey, he's just telling the guy it's the leader. He's like, we gotta go.
Yeah. Because clearly they know more than,
what they're saying.
Than Bert and Joan know.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's
they've clearly been dealing with Remick, Jack O'Connell, for
a while,
at least a good part of the day.
So they leave and they just say, God be with you. All right. We get back in the house.
So they leave and she gets back in the house. She
puts down the gun. And she goes back. She calls his name.
She calls her Bert. She doesn't hear it. So
she goes towards the back of the house.
Walks into the bedroom. And you see Remick He looks at her and he's just got blood all over. He's got these fangs and blood all over his mouth, dripping down his face.
She looks down, and then her husband's just there, and he's just bleeding from the neck.
He's bleeding from the neck. He's got a big old bite mark on his neck, and Remick is like, "Oh, it's okay. He'll be okay. He'll be all right."
I like how cool he plays.
His eyes are red.
Yes,
like he's got these red eyes.
Red eyes.
And, she starts to freak out a little bit. Then Bert stands up. He's like, "Oh, it's okay. It's okay, honey." And then it kind of, as they sort of move toward her, then it cuts over to it cuts over to
the barn that they bought.
Yeah.
And they had a sign up there now in the red letters. They're calling it Club Obi-Wan.
Yes, Club Obi-Wan. And Harrison Ford is sitting, up on the upper level, and he's got, a white dinner jacket with a red carnation, just like James Bond. And there's a big gong.
And he's ready to exchange an artifact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Kate Capshaw starts singing Anything Goes in Cantonese.
Anything goes, right? But then this deal goes wrong, and his partner comes behind him.
Yeah.
Who has been dressed as one of the cocktail waiters.
Yep.
But he's ready to call some business.
Yeah. And then a weird-looking guy shoots him.
And he dies.
And the guy that
Indy's arms.
Indy was making the deal with, starts laughing. He's like, "Here, it's the antidote." It's like, "For what?" "The poison you just drank."
You just drink. Yeah. And he's like, he gets delirious. And he's like, "The poison works fast, Dr. Jones." And then, while luck will have it, a platter of flaming kebabs goes by.
And he grabs one and he throws it into the guy that shot his buddy. And now we're talking about a completely different movie. A movie we've already covered in this podcast. So, if you want to hear the rest of that one, listen to our Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom episode.
No, it's just called Club Juke.
Yeah, it's called Club Juke. Now the sun is down. People are starting to get in there. Well, people are starting to show up. And
I like the part where, this guy, he goes up, he's ready to buy a drink, but all he has is 50 cents.
Yeah. You got 50 cents. And,
give the man 50 cents.
He comes up to buy a drink, and he doesn't have the money. He pays with wooden nickels.
Yes.
Like, he's got some actual change, but then he's got one or two wooden nickels.
The rest is,
And, and Stack and Annie are behind the bar, and they accept it. Like, yeah, here's your drink. And Smoke sees this.
Smoke is indignant about this.
He pulls Stack into the back room. He's like, "What the hell are you doing accepting the wooden nickels? We're not in this for charity. We're not in this, we need money." And Stack is like, "Hey, this is our opening night. People have been working the fields all week. They just want to come all
and they
day.
barely get their quota done.
In
they need to come to a place
where they can just relax.
Where they can be safe and relax.
And just have a drink. And, we can take what they can pay. We got to just give them a break." And Smoke is like, "That's not how we're going to make money. We're not going to be able to make our money back if we keep accepting wooden nickels." He's like, and Stack's not budging. Stack's like, "No, we need to be what these people need us to be. If we create this atmosphere of not allowing people, who can't pay us, everything that we need, like everything that we're asking of, when they just don't have it, then we're not going to get any customers. There's not going to be anybody coming in here.
And he sees the difference between this, again, someone that's working their ass off in the field.
Somebody that just needs
does not have all the money for this, but wants a place to unwind a bit.
I mean, it's not that it's not like if
as opposed to someone that's trying to cheat them.
Yeah, it's not like if somebody who has money comes in and tries to pay with wooden nickels. They're not going to accept that. They'll accept them from the people who, a wooden nickel is all they have.
Exactly. So we cut back. We get to the front of the club.
Cornbread is sitting at the door. Cornbread's sitting at the door, and Mary comes walking up. And Cornbread stops.
I was like, you sure in the right place? Mm-hmm. She just looks white to him.
Yeah. And she's like, is that you, Cornbread? You don't remember me? I got to... And he's like, oh, little Mary? You grown up, girl. Come on in.
He is more than happy to see her now. He feels kind of embarrassed that they're doing this to her, right?
He's like, you're always welcome here, Mary. Come on in. And so she walks in and she sees Sammy. He's at the bar. First she sees, she's greeted by Sammy. And it's like, hey, you're the guy at the train station. He's like, yeah. I'm Sammy. Smoke and Stack are my cousins. It's like, oh, they're your cousins. Oh, okay. Are you old enough to drink?
And he's still a bit confused.
Before he can answer, she's like, let me buy you a drink. And she walks him over to the bar, buys a couple of drinks for him.
And she's ready to fill him in on the backstory.
Yeah. So she, so she tells him, what went on between her and Stack before. Her
mother delivered both of those boys.
Yes, her mother delivered both of them. And then when their mother died, when their parents died, when their mother died, her mother basically nursed them.
She essentially nursed them and rose them.
And
right? She'll, rear them. But you know what? When she died, they couldn't bother to send flowers.
And then Smoke overhears what she's saying, and he's like, oh, we sent her plenty of flowers while she was still alive. And then he starts talking to her like she shouldn't be there. And so, she sort of gets into it with Smoke a little bit. And Stack comes out. And he takes over for Smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a little bit kinder to her than Smoke was. Because they had their little run-in at the train station. And
they did.
Now they're sort of trying to make up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and this whole time, Slim is up on stage playing the piano. He's just wailing. He's doing his piano. Thing. He's tickling that ivory.
He is,
and everybody's dancing. And then it's Sammy's turn. Sammy's turn to play. So he grabs his guitar and he
Slim gives a nice introduction.
Mm-hmm. Slim gives a real nice introduction. And
when he starts playing,
he introduces Preacher Boy. And so he goes up in the middle of the crowd and he's like, they call me Preacher Boy on account of my daddy being a pastor. He's like, I wrote this song for him.
Well, I wrote this for my daddy.
Yeah. So he starts playing. And I love this sequence.
This sequence is
I love this sequence.
I can see this sequence being polarizing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's definitely really interesting what they do with this.
Yeah. So, the first time I saw this movie, this sequence, that's a little odd, but, I get it. It fits. But, like I was saying earlier, each time that I see this movie, I like it more. Right? And this sequence, like when I was watching it earlier tonight, I don't know what it was, but it was just it resonated a little bit more.
It resonated, hit where you needed to go.
It hit, yeah. So yeah. Before,
but
I could more or less take it or leave it. I mean, more take it than leave it, but no. After my viewing tonight,
we talk about
this
resonating of music across time.
I love this sequence. But yeah, so he's playing, and then you get that voiceover again, like while he's playing.
Yes,
that same one from the beginning. Sometimes there's just music that can transcend time, that can transcend culture, and you start seeing, as she's saying, transcend time. You start seeing different people
from different eras.
You sort of see like African tribal, dancers, dancing with their drums and whatnot. And then when she says, and you can show the past and the future. Then it cuts over to like the 70s, like where there's a guy with an electric guitar,
DJ,
he's playing,
they got like a Hendrix type character.
Yeah, right? First you got the Hendrix guy, then it goes to the 80s where you got the DJ. He's got the he's spinning the records, and then you get some break dancers in there, and you get just dancing from all different cultures.
And it's interesting how they intersperse some of the scenes. Like some put the different things within their current context.
Yeah.
And sometimes they take them and place them in these different times.
Yeah. And then as the camera pans over, it goes into the kitchen area where Grace Chow is working. And you get some more of the Asian spin on it. The East Asian. You get some Chinese dancers, and then you get some kabuki dancers going on, and they all go out and join everybody in the main room, and you just have this hodgepodge of just different eras, different cultures, just all blending together, just complementing each other with their song, with their music. And as all of this is going on, you sort of get flames coming up from the barn, hypothetical flames, not actual flames. But yeah, so like basically all the walls burn down, the roof burns off. So they're all just basically standing in this field, playing music and dancing. And as the camera pans out, you see that evil that gets attracted by this music.
It's attractive.
Where you see Remick and Bert and Joan walking up. Remick's got his red eyes. Bert and Joan each have white eyes. And they just sort of walk up and stand there and just stare at the crowd.
They stare at the crowd. Yeah.
And then it cuts back to the inside of the club. And, the walls are all back up and, all this and, all the different eras of music and culture and all that are they're gone, and he finishes up his song, and Sammy goes and he sees Pearline, and he's like, you made it. And so he takes her into the little side room. And what we didn't mention earlier was when Stack and Sammy were in the car earlier, they were talking, and Stack was giving Sammy some very specific instructions on how to do something, how to eat ice cream.
Yeah.
And we'll just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. We Pearline discovers how he eats ice cream.
Yeah. In that little side room.
But we head back there, and it's not just music and food that's here. They have some gambling set up.
Yeah. in one of the other side rooms.
And it's like a craps table.
And one guy gets caught
this
cheating.
Guy has some loaded dice.
Guy gets caught cheating. Another guy pulls out a straight razor and slices him across the face. And so Smoke goes to break that up. Goes to find out what's happening and breaks up the fight. Sends the one guy home. Sends the aggressor home.
Yep. He has Cornbread take him out.
Mm-hmm.
Who scored him out, right? But the guy with the little dice, they deal with differently.
You know, he's got a big gash going like diagonally across his face, down across the bridge of his nose and his cheek. And he's like, yeah, you're going to need to go get stitches. You're going to need to see the doctor. Then they hear music outside.
And so they go out.
They go out.
They don't go out. They open the door.
They open the door and they look out there and they see there's 3 people: Remick, Bert, and Joan. Remick's got a banjo, Bert's got a guitar, and Joan's got a violin that she's playing like a ukulele.
Yes.
And they're singing, "I pick poor Robin clean, pick poor Robin clean." So, you know, inside they got blues playing. Outside they got more of the southern,
kind of southern bluegrass,
type southern of bluegrass type of music going. And
they're like, "Oh yeah, we were passing by. We heard we're musicians.
We heard music, and we're
musicians. We like what we heard. We want to play with you." And then like, "Hey, we can play this song." And like, they like the music they're playing.
Like, we love blues. We can play blues.
And then like the people when they hear "Pick Poor Robin Clean," like, you know what? Okay, yeah, you're good musicians. We don't deny that.
Mm-hmm. But this isn't really your kind of place. And so Remick's like, oh, it's because of the color of our skin, huh? Like, no, I don't think we're gonna mesh well. So they're like, but I mean, we got money. Can't we, you know? We got money. We're wanting to come in here and we're wanting to spend money with you. Like, yeah, still, I don't know. And so
like,
right now, all the main players are right there at the door. Yes. Right? And in the back, you know, sort of back next to Annie, is Mary, Haley Steinfeld. And they're like, well, what about her? She's white. And well, what we found out earlier when she was talking to Sammy was her mom's dad was a black man.
Yes.
Which makes her quarter black. And that's how she's connected with Smoke and Stack. Her mother was, we went through that.
Was half black, so she's a quarter black.
Yeah, so like, what about her? She's white. She's like, and Annie cuts in and she's like, yeah, but she's here because she's family. And Remick's like, well, can't we all just for one night? Can't we all just be family?
Yeah.
You know, and Smoke's starting to reach.
Very compelling argument.
Mm-hmm. Smoke's starting to reach for his piece. Right?
They go, we don't need to do that.
And Remick's like, oh, you don't need to do that. We'll go. It's like, yeah, there's another club down a ways, you know, with more your speed of music. And so, you know, they leave. You know, they're like, okay, we'll leave, but we're going to go real slow just in case you change your mind. You know, they leave and then, you know, they shut the door and everybody's creeped out by them. Right?
Yeah.
Like, they're not hiding that they're creeped out. So they start talking about them.
And there is something there, right?
Like, something that just...
This is not just your average potential Klans member. Mm-hmm. There's something else there that's unsettling.
Yeah. So, you know, then Mary volunteers to go out there and see if what they're saying is legit.
Yeah. They realize like they it kind of goes back to like they're accepting a bunch of like the Wood of Nickels. Mm-hmm. that's being paid to these men by the company for the cotton that can be only used, right, within the company.
Yeah.
Right. So you go to the company store and buy yourselves,
some food
can
or whatever.
Of tomatoes or whatever it might be. Yeah.
So, so she volunteers to go out there because she notices that they're not going far.
Need the money.
All right. So she's like, we might need the money. Let me go out and talk to them. They'll probably respond to me a little bit better.
And they're still out there, and they're more unhappy to greet her.
Yeah. So she walks out there, and they're sitting there. They're playing their instruments, right? Just sort of sitting on the side of the road. And she walks up to them. They start talking, and again, being real creepy.
Very creepy. Yes.
But Remick's like, we got gold. And shows it to her. He's like, where's this from? He's like, from another time. But it still spins. And then, she's clearly creeped out by them. She's like, oh, I don't think it's a good idea for you to come and join us tonight.
So she's ready to walk back.
So Remick gets her to, sit down next to him while he's showing her the gold and all that. And he starts drooling.
Oh, that's right. He drools. Yes.
He starts drooling down the side of his mouth. And she notices, and he's like, oh, all right. He goes to wipe it off. And then he comes in to look like he's about to bite her neck. And she sort of scares her away a little bit. She jumps up and she's like, oh, I think you guys need to go.
That's right.
And so she turns around and starts walking back. And then we see Remick kind of stand up and sort of lunge toward her a little bit. And it, cuts before we see what happens. Next thing we know, she's coming back up to the juke joint. And, Cornbread sees her at the door. He's like, Annie, what are you doing? He's like, I had to step out for a minute. You going to let me in? It's like, and he's like, oh, yeah. Come on in, Annie. Annie. Come on in, Mary.
It's important that she actually asks him this. Like,
at first, you going to let me in or what?
Like, she forgot that she, Anyway,
it's so important that she come on in. Come on in, Mary. And so, she walks past him, walks in there, and Stack is standing in the middle of the dance floor, and she sees him across the room, and she's ready, walking up all seductively to him, grabs him and then takes him to the dance floor. They start dancing and
takes him to a room,
then takes him into the side room, and they have their own little party in there.
Well, they do. Slim sees them going.
Mm-hmm. And Slim sees him go in there, and then he goes to see what's going on. He opens the door, and
eventually he's looking for them at first, right?
Oh yeah, he's looking for him. Opens up the door, and he sees what they're doing in there.
And so first he just thinks it's the door, the deed.
Yeah. So
because it's she's on top and behind, or behind,
and so
he's just like, what's going on?
And then he's walking away, and Smoke sees him. He's like, hey, where's Stack? And Slim's like, oh, he's in there. So Smoke goes and opens the door, and now it's something different that's going on.
It's different.
So
like, she's
Mary's
bent
still
over him.
Mary's still on top of him, but she's bent over him, and she's like on his neck, like her mouth is on his neck,
and you can see that like there's some blood going down.
See he's starting to twitch.
He's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Stack's starting to twitch, and Smoke sees it, and he's like, what's going on? And Mary
she turns
around, and she's just got blood all over her mouth, dripping down her face. And she's like, it's not what it looks like.
What does it look like, Mary?
So then Smoke looks down and sees Stack, and he's got a big hole in his neck. And he's just bleeding out.
Neck, right? He's just bleeding out.
So Smoke pulls his gun out, and he shoots Annie like 6 times. Or Annie, he keeps saying Annie. He shoots Mary like 6 times.
He thinks Mary's done with, but no,
she kind of falls. She kind of falls to the ground and stands back up. He's like, "We're gonna kill you all." And then she runs out.
Now she's drooling.
Mm-hmm. Now she's drooling.
Just like we saw Remick drooling earlier.
Well, no, the drooling came before she started eating his neck.
That's right.
Because that was the beginning of their little
that's
moment.
Right. We didn't touch that, but yeah, she drooled earlier.
Because she drooled, because Stack noticed that she was drooling. He's like, oh, you like that? Yeah. And then, so now she's just covered in blood. And
she runs back outside.
And then
we're getting toward the end of the night now. People have already kind of left, and now it's like, this thing has happened.
This thing is like, we're going to have to shut down. But
this has killed the mood for the night.
Annie sees what's going on. She sees Smoke shoot her, and she gets up and runs off. So she's like, "Oh, we're dealing with a hate."
Right. Now, most people are like, "Okay, that just doesn't happen. Something's not right here." But she's got the knowledge.
But she's got the knowledge base. So she's like, "We're dealing with a hate."
Describe what's actually happening.
And so she's like, "We need to shut this place down now." And so, they stop the party. They send everybody on their way, which, was probably a bad idea.
Probably a bad idea, yes.
But
given what they know and what she knows, and the Chows are discussing this, right? And they have a daughter, right? And they're thinking about it. It's like, oh no, yeah, you should go. Like, we should just go. Like, I don't like this. We need to go now. It's like, okay, well, I'll go get the car and get you. Right?
Yeah. So Bo leaves to get the car. He's gonna come back and get Grace.
What we kind of forgot to talk about this is that Slim was guarding the door because Cornbread had to pee.
Yeah. So at this point. Yeah, after Mary came in, then Cornbread had to pee. So he asked Slim to watch the door for him while he went outside.
Again, this is 1932. There's not really indoor plumbing, so you're not going to do it indoors. You got to go outdoors somewhere. And so he goes off, right? And,
so, he's out, and we see, it sort of cuts to him outside,
and he's peeing. He's taking care of his business.
Yep. Just what he said he was going to go out to do. And then he gets a visit. He starts hearing something, and
it's Jamie Kennedy. And he's just peeing in his bush. You peeing in my bush?
Yep.
This is my bush.
It's my bush. Yeah,
that's a movie we haven't done yet.
We haven't done that movie yet, but we will. But so, and we've got an interesting story that we may or may not tell during that one too. During that movie, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that story comes out. But anyway, so he hears something out there, and then we cut back to the club, and they're all trying to figure out what to do. It's really just the main people that they brought in to help run.
It's the main people now.
Right, all the guests are gone, or most of the guests are gone.
Most of the guests are gone, at least seemingly.
And so Cornbread walks up. He walks back over to the door, and he stops before he walks in. And Smoke is like, Cornbread, where were you? He's like, I had to take a piss, and when I was there, I had to shit too. So he's like, so excuse me for taking a little bit extra time.
All the rest of the people, the small group, they're all there at the entryway. It's not like they're all kind of
they're all standing there in the doorway, just like they were
right there,
just like what they were when the three came before. They're all standing in the doorway, and Cornbread sees Smoke and sees him covered in Stack's blood. He's like, "Oh, Smoke, what happened?" He's like, "It's Stack. It's Stack's blood. He was attacked, and if you had been here, then you would have known that." It was like, where were you? And it's like, oh, come on. Aren't you going to let me in? It's like, come on. And they're about to let him in. Then Slim stops him. It's like, wait, Cornbread. You've been in and out of here all night. And never once have you had to ask if you could come in. And so Cornbread's trying to deny it. He's just trying to get him to let him in.
And Annie's like, no, don't let him in. Annie knows.
Yep.
Annie's
like, yeah. Annie's like, no, don't let him in. Don't let him in. And so Cornbread's starting to get mad now. He's like, okay, well, if you're not going to let me in, then just pay me what you owe me and I'll go home. And so Smoke comes up and, he reaches in his pocket, pulls out some money. And he reaches out to give it to Cornbread with his left hand. And Cornbread, just real quick, grabs his arm. And he's about to take a bite out of it. And with cat-like reflexes, Smoke draws his gun and shoots Cornbread in the head. Like, shoots him in the cheek. And, it gets him to let him go, and he falls to the ground. They both fall to the ground. But he got to him before he could bite him. So Cornbread, he's laying on the ground. He stands up, and he's got a bullet hole in his head, going through his cheeks all blown out. And so, they get Smoke back inside before Cornbread can come and get him. And so now they know that Cornbread has been turned.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're still trying to figure things out inside, and they hear Stack from the other room calling out to him. And Stack's like, Smoke, it's me, it's Stack. I'm okay. Let me out. And Smoke, he wants to believe him. But he's like, no, I saw you in there. You were dead. I was holding you in my arms.
You were dead.
It's like, oh, no. I'm fine.
That was just a flush wound.
Just let me out. So Stack ends up breaking the door down. And then he just runs out of there.
Well, Annie has some pickled garlic juice.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so she
repelled.
Yeah, that's right. He busts the door down, and he's on top of Smoke, and he's about to bite him, and Annie throws some pickled garlic on him.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of burns. Enough. It sort of burns his face, and he gets up and runs off. And then Annie realizes they're not dealing with hates; they're dealing with vampires.
Vampires, even more evil. Yeah. So she gives him a little bit of a rundown of what
vampires. Yes. So one of the things that I really like about this movie, right, is you have so many, especially like more recent, more modern vampire movies, where vampires have been in the lore for so long, for centuries.
They have. Yes. We discussed that last week.
Yeah. And the rules of vampires have changed over time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But what I like about this, it goes back to the original rules of vampires.
It does.
They can't be in the sun or else they will die, which we already started seeing that with Remick earlier.
Yep. He was willing to go out just a little bit. His skin was
smoking while the sun was up.
And work his advantage to make him look weak.
Mm-hmm. And, you got garlic has an effect on him.
But then the other part is
they have to be invited in.
Invited in.
They can't just walk in. They have to be invited in, which is why Mary asked if she could come in. And Cornbread, not knowing that she was a vampire, let her in. Whereas when Cornbread came up, he couldn't just walk in. He had to be invited. So he was asking them to let him in.
Mm-hmm.
And Remick and Bert and Joan, they couldn't just come in. They had to be invited in.
And even at
the beginning with Remick, when he first met Bert and Joan,
that's right.
He had to be invited into their house.
Even Stack, right?
Mm-hmm. Stack was already in there.
Thing. Like
Stack was already inside.
There, so it's a different circumstance.
He was just locked behind a door, so he didn't have to be invited out of the room.
Inside that, yes.
But if he were to come back, out of that. Once he left the building, then he would have had to be invited back in.
We'll see that. So, and we'll see that later too. But anyway,
so she's giving the rundown, and like the only way to kill him is you got to drive a wooden stake through their heart.
Yep.
And she's explaining all this to him. So they're going around, they're picking up chairs, they're breaking the legs off of chairs, they're taking out their knives, they're sharpening points onto them. And, they're getting their weapons ready. They got some guns, Smoke's got his.
And one of the important things she shares about is that anyone they turn is going to have this hive mind with each other.
So basically they'll be able to know, they'll know, they'll the one that bit them will pass his knowledge onto them.
Yes.
And vice versa, they'll pass theirs onto them.
If the vampire bites you, that vampire will know about that victim's thoughts and secrets.
And what we didn't mention earlier, which is kind of important for later, was when they started the night, then Smoke was kind of upset that they didn't bring the crate with them. Yes. Now we don't know what's in the crate.
He was
kind of upset that they didn't bring the crate with them. But it was in the context of, in case something goes wrong.
I'm glad he brought this up. Yes.
In case something goes wrong, then, we should have the crate. But they didn't have the crate with them. They forgot to bring it in. It's still outside in the truck. But at the time they decided, we don't need the crate. When we find out what's in that crate, it could really come in handy here. But anyway, so they're getting their weapons all put together, and
where is the scene? Is that the scene too? Then we get the outside where all of them, all the Remick, and everyone that's been turned.
Yeah, so they're all
singing,
they're standing up there. They're
Irish
singing
music outside,
and now Remick has an Irish accent.
Yeah.
Like a thick Irish accent.
And this is not like kind of like your like Boston Irish accent. Like this is like
Ireland.
This
Irish.
Like this is pure blood Irish, right? And they're hearing this as they're preparing themselves for the defense.
And then one of them, I think,
obviously,
Grace, I think it was, saw somebody in the other room on the ground looking like they're dead with what looks like blood coming out of their neck.
Yes. And so they don't put that person out. Yeah, it's going to come in a minute. But yeah, they're just hearing kind of like all that music and they're all singing out there. And, you got Stack, you got Mary, you get this whole group of people just
they're not singing out there. They're not singing out there just yet. They're not singing out there until after they put the guy outside.
That's
so
right.
They think that this guy's dead. They think he's going to turn. So they grab him and they carry him outside.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Put him on the ground, and then they go back in. And he wakes up.
That's right.
The guy wakes up. He's like, "What are you doing? I know I'm passed out, but come on, why are you throwing me out?" And they're trying to reason with him, and then Cornbread tackles him. Cornbread tackles the guy and just starts eating his face. And then he gets up, and then the other guy gets up. And then this is when they start putting their weapons and stuff together, and then all the rest of them come out and they're singing outside. And now we find out that not only has Remick gotten a hold of Mary and Cornbread and this other guy, but now we know that Bo is one of his victims too, and everybody else that was at the party, all of the guests that were there, all the people that came out,
they're having an Irish festival out there.
They're having an Irish festival. They're doing some river dancing. They're doing it's an Irish fest out there. It's
they're waking that divine.
Yes,
they're doing it all. But yeah, again, the music they have for this is really, really good. It's this really good traditional Irish folk music.
We have not done a movie in a long time, really, if ever, where the music is as important as it is in this movie. Like to the movie.
I would have to think about
like that. Where the music is so important to the plot of the movie.
Because we haven't done School of Rock. I just referenced 2 movies.
Yep. Yes, you did. Both movies we'll probably end up doing. But anyway, so they're having their little Irish fest outside. They're singing, they're dancing, and everybody inside is preparing. And then, they're wondering, who else are like, what else, or, who of us could have been bit? Because they saw the guy in there. Because they saw the guy inside there that looked like he was dead on the ground, and threw him out, and then so Annie grabs a jar of garlic. He's like, okay, well, each of us will eat a clove of garlic, and if one of us is a vampire, we're gonna react to it.
And this is the faculty and the thing callback here, right?
Yeah.
The faculty is supposed to snort the speed type medicine that Josh Hartnett concocts, and the thing, it's the blood test, right? Yep.
So, Annie starts it out. She, pops a clove of garlic, chews it up, swallows it. She's fine. Passes it on to.
Yeah, most of them will go just fine.
It gets to Grace, and she's like, ugh. Okay, so she, pops one in her mouth. Like, you couldn't have gotten the pickled stuff. And Annie kind of just shoots her a look. Like, I just used the rest of that stuff. I used the rest of that take stack out. She shoots her a look.
Then it gets,
Grace hands it to Perline, and Perline's like, oh, I don't like garlic. I can't stand garlic. And she's refusing to eat it. And, so Annie had eaten it, Smoke had eaten it, Sammy had eaten it. And it gets around to Perline.
This is Perline.
She's like,
she's not doing anything.
Garlic. I can't stand garlic. And she's refusing to eat it. And so Smoke pulls his gun out and he points it at her.
Like, you're gonna eat this damn thing.
And Sammy protests. Sammy's like, don't put your gun at her. And so Smoke hits Sammy. He pistol whips Sammy real quick. He's like, hey, I'm trying to protect you. So he points the gun at Perline again. He's like, you eat that or I shoot. And so she pulls out a piece of garlic and she throws it in her mouth, and she just has this.
She just
disgusted.
She gets through it.
She gets through it, and she's okay, there. And she's fine. Well, Slim reaches over and gets the jar from her. And he pulls out the garlic and tosses a clove in his mouth, and he reacts. He starts gagging and coughing, and just gets doubles over.
No, not
doubles
Slim.
over like
Slim
he's about to puke. And they're like, and everyone's like, no, Slim, no, Delroy Lindo, no, not you. And he's like, oh.
It would have been okay for his being Rames, but not Delroy Lindo.
And he's like, oh, no, I'm okay. Oh, I had too much of that Irish beer that you brought from Chicago. Oh. It's reacting with it. And so, it's gone through everybody in their circle and everybody's fine. Nobody's turned. And then one of, I think Grace was like, "Are you sure that was blood that was on the floor by the guy?" And they go and check it. And one of the things that we didn't mention that they also brought with them was Italian wine.
Yes.
So they had
and again,
Irish beer and Italian wine. And here's a very important part earlier that we did not mention when Stack and Mary were talking at the club after Mary had her drink with Sammy. And after Stack, rescued her from smoke before she went out to meet with the vampires. Or she revealed, because she had put 2 and 2 together, that they just came from Chicago, from Capone's gang. And they had all of this Irish beer and Italian wine. The Smoke and Stack had been playing both sides.
Mm-hmm.
They had been cheating both sides out of the beer and the wine. And
yep.
Once they find out about it, once Capone and the other side find out about it, they're going to come after him. And so, that's just kind of, it's important, but not at the same time. It's
important, but again, it tells them why they came back.
Yeah.
Because the heat was going to get too much.
But as far as, the rest of the events of the movie, not super important, but yeah, it gives backstory.
There is an important aspect to this, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much racial subtext and theme to this, right?
There is.
And I think it's important that they're bringing in the Irish and the Italian on this aspect of things, though. Mm-hmm. When you're kind of bringing in the European kind of continent on this, right? Because you're going to be talking about the 2 kind of like immigrant cultures from Europe, right? That were viewed with a lot of suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, again, the Klan that they're going to be coming from kind of your typical Anglo-Saxon kind of cultures.
Plus, right? You got 2 of the biggest mafias in American history are the Italian mafia and the Irish mafia.
And again, these places are kind of cutting their teeth that way because, again, they were immigrants and they had to make their way.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to those that would have been coming over from England and Scotland and other areas, which would have been more acceptable.
Yep.
So that's just kind of an aside. I don't want to get too deep into all the other parts of the theme, but yeah.
Yeah. So with that, that was a pretty important conversation then.
But okay, so eventually, once they figure out,
they find out that it wasn't blood; it was wine that was on the floor.
It was wine. It was just wine.
So they threw out a living man.
It was just
they basically
the war that this dude was just
they basically
down.
Just fed a vampire.
Hey, they were friends with cornbread, okay? So they go back out. They don't go back out. They open the door.
So, they open the door. Well, no, they don't open the door because the door's locked up. But they still hear everybody singing.
But they have a conversation with Reddick again.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. They do open the door. And
they do open the door because they have not just Remick. They have a conversation with everybody. Remick, they allow Remick to have a chance to explain himself.
Yeah.
And this here, this is what Jack Hunt,
yes,
he's good. Oh my!
Yes.
This is the other scene where it's just it's good, and he's just like, you can join us to be immortal.
Come out here, join us. Yeah,
you have all this freedom from these Klansmen, all these other people that look down on you.
And then Grace.
Right? But what he says, like, what we want is him. And his
Sammy and his music. That's why we came. That's what attracted us here.
Because
we want Sammy.
And he's like, I'm going to summon spirits of my lost people.
Mm-hmm.
And here's where you get this is like a Remick is like centuries old.
Yeah. He's been around for a while. And you get the sense that he's sort of the last of his kind.
And he's just saying, like, this is where you kind of get into hive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, again, right? He reveals, like, oh yeah, well,
because so Bo is standing off, so sort of behind him, and Grace sees Bo, and Remick. He starts speaking.
We'll go see our daughter.
Speaking Chinese to. He starts speaking Chinese to Grace.
Well, that's the thing that sends her off. Because Remick speaks to her.
Yeah, he's like, and so he starts talking to her about their daughter.
And he's speaking perfect.
Yeah.
In her tongue.
Yeah. And like, he's like, yeah, Bo told me all about you. I know all about you.
We can just go. Even the door right now, I'll go visit her.
Even the way you like him to pleasure you, It's like, and so yeah, if you want, you can come on out. We can make you immortal. We can go get your daughter. She can be immortal too.
And the other aspect they bring up that's important, again, is they have Joan and Bert.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's like, oh yeah, that man Hogwood or Hogwood?
Yeah, that man Hogwood that you bought this mill from?
Head here. He's the Grand
Dragon. He's the Grand Dragon of the KKK. And this man here, that's his nephew.
In the morning, they're gonna kill all of you.
Yeah, so Bert here is his nephew. And they're going to come in the morning. They're going to kill every one of you. But if you come out and you join us, they're not going to be able to do anything to you.
It's enticing little speech because, like, he's mixing in these points. They're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
and because he's really charismatic about it.
Oh yeah. Again, Jack O'Connell is fantastic in this movie.
Like you get how like some people might be willing to listen and just like, hey, let's do this. But that's when they refuse. They say, we're not going to do this.
They refuse. They shut the door. They lock it up. And Grace she can't get over the fact that she's lost her husband.
Right? And now she's afraid that they shut the door.
She's afraid
my daughter
they're going to go. Yeah.
Is she okay?
Go after her daughter. And so she's, not thinking rationally. She walks over to the bar. She grabs a bottle. She starts getting a little rag to put in there to make a Molotov cocktail. Annie stops her.
Bergnine is instructing her, this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah. While he's listening to a cassette tape in his taxi. And
all of a sudden, Isaac Hayes shows up in a Cadillac
with a Mac 10.
And he's got chandeliers on it.
Yes, he's got chandeliers on his Cadillac.
He's going to attack some vampires in a Cadillac that has chandeliers with his Mac 10.
If anybody can do it, it's Isaac Hayes. And then, he calls DA Shaft.
Hey, I mean, it makes sense. Like Isaac Hayes, he makes music. He jams with this.
Yeah.
He's the perfect person to counter with this.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, my music might not be 100%. It's 99%.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to counter this.
But it's all about a bad mother. Shut your mouth. Just talking about Shaft. Just talking about DA Shaft. So. Anyway, so no, Isaac Hayes doesn't show up with the Cadillac with chandeliers.
Sadly.
But yeah, so Grace she's hysterical right now. She starts to, they're trying to restrain her. And she starts to yell out. She starts to yell out, "Come on in." but they, cover her mouth before she can get it out. Smoke covers her mouth. And so then she bites his hand. And as soon as he lets go, then she's like, come on in, you motherfuckers.
I love how the tiny petite Asian lady just yells, come on in, motherfuckers.
Yeah. And so now everybody, ready or not, they had to, they had to get ready real quick. They had to get ready real quick. So, they've all got their stakes, Sammy grabs a rifle. So does Perline. Smoke's got a stake in one hand and his pistol in the other. And so before all this comes up,
sequence here.
So even before, so early, so we missed another part. So after Annie was done explaining about vampires, before they started, as they were getting everything prepared, then she pulled Smoke aside. And she tells him, if I turn, or if I get bit.
That's right, yes.
You got to free me before I turn. He's like, what do you mean? What do you mean free you? He's like, you know what I mean. There's someone waiting for me on the other side. And I cannot leave our child, motherless in the afterlife. So he understands what she's asking. All right, so so she makes him promise that if she gets bit, he'll kill her before she turns. And so now Grace is going crazy. She yelled come on in, and
she's still got her Molotov cocktail.
Ran back around, she got her Molotov cocktail. She makes it, she lights it. She got a stake in one hand, Molotov in the other, and the big barn doors open. And Remick is the first one in. He comes walking in. She throws that Molotov at him, but he deflects it. He raises his hand and he hits it, and it goes over and it smashes against the barn door and lights the barn on fire, lights the door on fire. And then Bo comes in after him, and Grace goes after Bo. So she jumps onto Bo, and she goes. As she's doing that, she goes through that fire, and she catches on fire, tackles Bo, and he's on fire now. So they're just burning, and she stabs him in the heart with a stake, and they're both just burning.
And they get to burn together.
Burning alive.
There's something kind of like poetic about it. Like she's able to kill him so he can actually die.
Mm-hmm. So that so he can actually die, and also keep him from going after her daughter. Keep him from going after their daughter. And
there's a very
their daughter's not going to have parents now, but
and Jin
it's yes,
type of
exactly
ending.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up, because the whole movie they've kind of reminded me of Sun and Jin from Lost. But yeah, it's a very fitting end for them.
Spoiler alert: if you've never seen the entire series of Lost.
Well, we don't say anything about what happens to Sun and Jin.
Yeah, they don't burn together.
No.
And they leave a daughter to get.
There's Well, we might have, who knows? We may do Get Lost, the podcast, or something like that someday.
Anyway, all the fighting continues around them. She's like Nicolas Cage is the Wicker Man. She's just burning. There's no bees, but she's burning. He's now he's dead.
he's dead because he has a wooden stake in his heart now, but he's still on fire. He's burning too. But she's sitting there. She's still moving. She's just burning alive. The flesh is being burned from her bones, and she's just
Not anyway.
She's not going to survive this.
It's 1931, 32. They don't have the skin grafts yet.
They haven't taught stop, drop, and roll yet.
Anyway, the fight continues with everybody else.
Yeah. So everybody else, they're fighting. They're coming through. But
they realize that it's almost too much. They're going to have to kind of continue to escape out. But while this is all going on, Remick eventually is able to bite Perline.
Yeah, Remick. Right? No. That's not now. That's not now.
It's not now.
So no. So while they're in there fighting, Remick's coming up.
When does Annie get it?
Annie, right here. So they're fighting. So Bert and Joan come in. They quickly get dispatched. And
that's right. Yes.
And then Annie notices something, and she turns to yell to Smoke. And when she turns back, Stack is on her.
That's right.
So Stack tackles Annie, and he bites her in the neck. And then Smoke shoots Stack to get him off of her. Because, bullets don't kill them, but it will slow them down a little bit.
It slows them down. It's like a T-1000 doesn't get killed by a bullet.
Exactly.
It slows them down.
Slows them down a little bit. So Smoke shoots Stack, and Stack, sort of falls off of Annie and gets up and, backs up a little bit. He's like, oh, it's time now. We're all going to be together. And Smoke goes over to Annie, and Annie looks at him, and she's like, you know what to do. You promised. So, reluctantly, he takes his stake, and he drives it through her heart. And kills her before she can turn. And now Stack, he's upset. Like he and Mary are upset. Brother. It's like, what? Now we won't be together. And so then all the vampires they retreat a little bit. They sort of retreat to regroup. And it gives, the living a couple of minutes to
try to
escape. And Slim decides that
he's going to sacrifice himself.
He's going to sacrifice himself to try to ensure that they can get out. Because he figures he's the oldest one there. He doesn't have a lot of time left. He knows that they're after Sammy.
He got paid his $40.
He's trying to protect
his
Sammy.
Irish beer. He got paid. He's happy. He likes Sammy and his music.
Slim, when he first met Sammy, maybe he didn't like him all that much, but he has grown real attached to Sammy throughout this day. He is really taking a liking to Sammy. And he knows that he's the one that the vampires are after. So he's going to do whatever he can to protect Sammy. So he gives Sammy the guitar. He's like, go, get out of here. I'll try to hold him off. And so everybody else goes up into the loft area. And so Slim, once they're all up the ladder and they're somewhat safe, then now that all the vampires have gone outside again. So they can't just come back in. On their own accord. Can't. So Slim, the badass that he is, he's got his stake in his hand. He grabs one of those Irish beers, and he just chugs it. He downs the bottle, and then he breaks it on the side of the bar. He calls out to the vampires like, come and get me. And he takes that broken bottle and he slices up his arm.
Yep.
So he's just bleeding out of his arm. He's just spurting blood.
They invited in. He's got fresh blood. They're like,
come and get me. So, all the vampires, they just crowd in on him. And he's trying to fight them off, but there's too many of them, and they take him down. But everybody else has made it upstairs. And it's important to note that all the vampires that went in after Slim, Remick was nowhere to be found.
He was not.
And so they open up the doors at the top of the mill, top of the barn, and where you just have like up the hayloft area.
Yes.
And when Smoke opens up the door, Remick is there. He's like, "Hey, Sammy."
They retain intelligence, which I like.
Mm-hmm. And so Remick tackles Smoke, and he goes after Sammy, and Smoke gets in the way, and
yes.
So, Remick is trying to. He's about to. Is he on Sammy or is he on Smoke? At this point,
I think he's on Sammy.
Yeah, I think he's on Sammy. So he's about to bite Sammy, and this is when Perline comes in and stabs him in the back with her stake. Right. But she doesn't stab him on the right side. She doesn't stab him on the side of his heart.
Yeah.
So it just goes into his back, and it slows him down just like a bullet would. He just reacts to it, and he kind of turns around and grabs her and pins her up.
And takes a giant chunk out of her.
The beam that's there, and he just like takes a bite out of her neck. And so,
and now she's been turned.
Well, not yet. She hasn't been turned yet, but she's been.
Well,
bit.
Yes, she's in the.
So she's going to turn.
Theoretically, within the process of being turned.
She's going to turn, but so Sammy, he doesn't know how to handle this. He's shocked. He's surprised, and Smoke shoots Remick to get him off of Perline.
Again, it's just enough to get him off. He's not completely incapacitated.
Yeah. So Perline, so Sammy, he's upset about Perline. He's trying to get her to come with him, and she's like, "No, leave me. Go. Get out of here." And so Sammy goes out, and Smoke tells him, go get help. Go get to the car and get out of here. And so Sammy goes out, and he jumps off the loft area and, lands hard on the ground. Surprised he didn't break something.
Yeah, he very lucky.
And he's still holding that guitar. I'm surprised he didn't break the guitar.
Well, there's also that.
But as he's trying to run away, then we see Remick. He just leaps out of this loft area, and he's just soaring down.
Yeah, this is like vampire move here.
Mm-hmm. And he lands down there, and he tackles Sammy. And then we sort of cut back into the barn, and now Stack is up there with Smoke, and Stack, gets on top of Smoke, and he's trying to bite him, but Smoke, is fighting him off, and finally Smoke gets the upper hand, and he gets on top of Stack, and he's got that stake, and he's about to kill him. Yep. And so Stack is pleading with him. And then it cuts back out to Sammy and Remick. And right next to the mill, there's this large pond.
Yeah, it's there.
There's this large pond, and so Sammy goes running out into the water, and Remick's right behind him. And so Remick grabs Sammy, and he takes his hand, and he's got these long nails now. Like, he's got claws.
Yes, he does.
And he just slices him right. He just swipes his hand right across the side of Sammy's face. And so now we know how he got those scratches from the beginning of the movie.
Yes, we do. That's right.
And so Sammy takes that guitar and he uses it like a baseball bat, and he just smashes it into Remek's head, right into his face. And this guitar, it's got this big. It's one of those ones that's got this. It's a gorgeous guitar, but it's got this. It's one of those ones that's got the big disc on it, like the big metal disc, looks like a hubcap.
Yes,
on there.
What you mean?
And so the guitar shatters on Remek's head, but that disc gets lodged. It's
not going to do anything.
Stuck in his head.
Right.
So now all Sammy has is just half of the neck of the guitar. And he's still holding on to it. Just like it was at the beginning of the movie.
We see that at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. And so that sort of knocks Remek back a little bit, and he throws the disc out of his head. He pulls it out of his head and throws it aside. And then here's the part that I noticed on this viewing that I didn't notice before. I mean, the lead up to it I noticed, but obviously because here they're in the water. Remek has Sammy in his hands, and then Sammy starts reciting the Lord's Prayer. Right?
All right. Yeah.
He's like, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." And then Remek, in his Irish accent, starts reciting it with him.
Yeah.
And then all of the other vampires that are coming up behind, they're reciting it. And so everybody's saying it at the same time. And then, they get to the end of it. And Remek, this is the part that I noticed this time that I didn't notice before. Where he says, "A man came to my land, and he spouted that prayer. He spouted that to my people, and he stole our land, and got rid of my father, and all this, and I should hate it, but it still brings me comfort."
Yeah. Right.
I realized.
Makes sense.
I realized that man that he's talking about there is St. Patrick.
Yes.
When St. Patrick went to Ireland and drove the snakes out of Ireland, apparently he had a run-in with some vampires too.
Yes.
I did not notice that the first couple of times that I saw this movie.
Yeah, no,
that he's talking about St. Patrick right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of deep things within this.
Yeah. So anyway, he's got Sammy in his grasp, and he's about to bite him, and then all of a sudden you see a wooden stake come out of his chest, like from behind, like right through his heart.
Yes.
And
true fact.
He starts to sort of stumble around a little bit, and then you see smoke right behind him. Smoke is the one that has stabbed him. And then as he's stumbling around, the sun is starting to come up.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see his skin start to smoke.
Yeah, we gotta get inside.
And then all the other vampires that are on the shore of the pond, their skin starts to smoke. So they start running. They're trying to get to shelter, but the sun's coming up too fast, and they all just burst into flames. And they drop and they burn to death right there on the ground.
Yep, they're done.
Meanwhile, Remek, who, by the way, is the only one with red eyes. The rest of them have white eyes.
Yes, that's correct.
But
nice touch.
Yeah, because he's one of the
He's
old school
the
vampires. He's one of the old school vampires,
right? Exactly.
And so, so he, after the rest of the vampires burn up, then he starts, burning, and he burns and dies.
Yep.
And so what I thought was going to happen the first time I saw this.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the movie, we see Sammy clutching that guitar. Clutching the neck of that guitar.
Right.
Since the last time we saw Smoke, he was in the barn on top of Stack.
Yes, that's correct.
I thought that what was going to happen, and I don't know. I don't know if I kind of wish it had happened this way, or if it's better if it didn't happen this way. But my original thought was that Sammy was going to stab Remick with the guitar.
Right.
With the neck of the guitar.
I could see that being a thought as a possibility.
Like that he was just going to, when Remick was about to bite him, that Sammy was just going to take that broken guitar neck and just jam it into his heart.
Stab him, yeah.
And that would then be, why he couldn't let it go.
That would make sense, yes.
But I don't know if I would prefer it that way or if I prefer that it's not that way.
I like how we have it, to be honest.
I mean, it works either way.
Cents.
It works either way. Could.
Yes, it could.
But, yeah, I don't know. It might be too cliche.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
But yeah, anyway, so Smoke gets Sammy out of the water. And, now the sun is up. And so he tells Sammy, take the car and go.
Go. Get out of here.
He gives him the keys. He's like, take the car and go. And Sammy's like, well, what about you? He's like, I got some stuff I got to take care of here. So Sammy gets in the car and goes. And then this is back to the beginning of the movie.
That's right.
Sammy gets to the church and he goes in there.
He drives into the church. He walks in.
But now we get what's also going on at that time. Smoke goes over to the truck.
Goes out the night. Yeah.
Goes over the truck and he finds that crate in the bed of the truck and he pulls it out.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes it in the barn and he opens it up. And inside this crate, actually, I guess he doesn't really take it in the barn, but he just puts it on the ground. Yeah. He opens it up and we see there's a BAR, a Browning BAR, and a Tommy gun in this crate. And a couple of army helmets and some other gear. Some other military gear. And so shortly after he picks, he opens up the crate and we see what's in it. Then we get Mr. Hogwood and his Klansmen coming up.
Mm-hmm.
They pull up to the place. And they see the sign that Club Juke. Grand opening is going to be the grand closing.
Grand re-closing.
And so, one of the guys goes up to open up the big barn doors and like, it's locked. He's like, check the front door. You go, that one's locked too. And then one of them gets shot. And so they'll turn around, they pull out their guns and they're looking to see where the gunshot came from, and Smoke is out in the tall grass.
Makes sense.
He's out in the tall grass, and he's laying down, and he's got that rifle, and he's just shooting at him.
He does.
So they start trying to shoot back at him, and he stands up and he's walking out there, shooting as he goes, shooting each one. And he runs out of ammo in that gun, so he drops that to the ground, and he has dug a hole.
Right.
That he's put a little board over, and he goes and he pulls that board off of there and picks up the Tommy gun from that hole, and then he just starts mowing down all these KKK guys.
All down. And these are guys that hadn't even
mowing
had
down
trials.
the Klansmen. But
screw them.
Yeah. So then there's a couple of them that get into a truck and they start driving away. But before they can get too far, he gets up next to the truck and he pulls out a grenade and he tosses it in through the window. And then as the truck's driving away, the guy in the back, there's one guy in the bed of the truck that's shooting at him. And, he's shooting at the guy and that guy hits him in the side.
Right. Yes.
But it doesn't really slow him down all that much. But he feels it. But then he's shooting at the guy and then the truck blows up. And finally, he gets over to all the Klansmen are down. Most of them are dead, and he goes over and he looks down at he lifts up his shirt a little bit and looks, and he's got a gaping bullet hole in his side.
Right, not good,
right down in his kidney area.
Yes,
and so he's over there and he looks over and he sees. No, he kind of, sits down.
Yes, he does.
Kind of sits down and he looks over and he sees Annie sitting down on the ground, dressed all in white.
All in white.
And she's nursing
baby. This infant.
She's nursing a baby. And, he lights a cigarette and, first he took a cigarette from Hogwood.
Grand Dragon, yeah.
He took a cigarette from Hogwood. So he
gives him one. That's that's his last smoke.
Yeah, so he sits down, he lights a cigarette, and then he looks over and he sees Annie nursing their baby. And she's like, if you put out that cigarette, you can hold him. And he does. He's kind of just sitting there watching, and then Hogwood says something. He's like, "Oh, I'll never bother you again. I'll tell all my people to stay away from you and to stay away from this place." And then, since Hogwood just interrupted Smoke's moment with his wife and son and baby,
Hogwood gonna die.
He just unloads the rest of that magazine into Hogwood.
Yes,
and Hogwood's dead.
No more Hogwood.
Yeah. And so now Smoke goes over to, take the baby from Annie. Go over and hold the baby. And that's the last we see of Smoke. Well, because during this time also he's sort of remembering back to the day, to earlier in the day when he was with Stack and when they picked up Sammy and all this. There's just little flashbacks to the beginning of the movie.
Thoughts about the day.
To the beginning of the day and all that. And then...
But you think we're done or not?
And then from there, we have a time jump.
To 1992.
1992.
So 60 years later.
Yeah, and we have this man playing guitar, playing the blues.
In Los Angeles
in 1992, and he's got these scars across his face that look exactly like the scratches on Sammy. So it's obvious that this is an adult Sammy. This is an 80-some-odd-year-old Sammy. 70, 80, somewhere in there. It was 60 years later. They never really tell you how old Sammy is in the movie.
They don't.
So
they don't need to. They give you enough to make what happened.
But he's no older than mid-20s.
That's right.
But yeah, so it's an old man Sammy, and he's playing, and
he's at this club.
This is
he finishes his set.
So it's very interesting that this is actually, at least from what I gathered from it, this is his club. He owns it.
Yes, that's the way
because if you look behind him, behind the stage, there's a big picture of him, but then it's also got the name of the club, and the club is called Perlene's.
Yes, this makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. So basically he grew up. He opened this club. He called it Perline's, after Perline, of course.
Of course.
But this is all like this is during the credits, right? The credits start playing, start going, and then this scene is playing during the credits. And so he finishes up his set, and he goes into there's like this whole private bar that he goes into, and he sits down. And
one of the bouncers or security guys tells them they have guests.
Yeah, they have guests. There's a couple of people that want to come in and meet him, that want to come see him. Is that okay?
They say,
like, yeah, that doesn't bother me one bit. Bring him in.
Now they've been invited
in. And we see Mary walk in. But she's not dressed like she was in the 30s. She's dressed like an early 90s.
Like it's the early 90s. Yeah,
she's dressed like it's the early 90s. And then right behind her comes Stack. He walks in. And he's
definitely dressed like he's
90s.
In the early 90s.
And they walk in, and Sammy's surprised to see him. He thought they were dead.
Right.
And they walk up.
All he wants is the proper materials. Yeah. That's why he's going back.
They walk up. They sit down next to Sammy. And they have
a nice conversation.
Stack orders the same thing the Sammy's got. He's like, "Hey, I'll have what the old man's having."
I love the bartender's expression here.
Yeah.
He looks just like, I'm gonna clock out for the night.
Yeah. So
I'll make this drink and that's it.
The bartender has the drink and he leaves. So then they have a nice little conversation. All right. And Sammy's like, "You here for me?" And Stack's like, No, I'm not. Like, I thought Smoke killed you. He's like, "No, Smoke made me promise." He's like, "No, I guess I'm the one person he couldn't kill. He just couldn't bring himself to kill me." And we get a little flashback of Smoke standing, like sitting on top of him with the stake, and he just can't stab him.
Ready to kill him, but he can't.
He just can't bring himself to do it. So he's like, "He made me promise that I would stay away from you, and that I wouldn't come after you, and that I'd let you live out the rest of your days." And then he leans in and he smells him. He just takes a big sniff of Sammy. He's like,
"This is like your old man."
And it doesn't look like you have many days left.
Yeah, that's all it really is. Yeah.
Doesn't look like you have much time left. But I can fix that.
Right.
I can make you live on forever. You can keep playing. Mm-hmm. You can keep doing all this. And Sam's like,
That's
"No,
not what he wants.
I don't think I will. I'm done. I'm done with this life. I've lived enough."
Makes sense too.
He's like, I'm tired of all this.
All makes sense.
So he's like, "All right." And so Stack and Mary get up to walk out, no, Stack is like, "No, we have all your records. But I don't like the electric stuff too much. I prefer the real."
That's right.
I prefer the real. Yeah. But recordings from back then,
I get
shit.
it.
Yeah, he's like, "But recordings from back then, they're shit. You don't happen to have any of that real left in you, do you?" Yeah. And Sam's like, yeah, I do. So then he's got his old guitar.
Yes, he does.
And we also found out after... Yeah, back before everything happened, before Smoke got killed and all that stuff, before his shootout when he was sending Sammy off, right? And he told him to drop the guitar. He's like, "I can't. It's whoever it was."
That's right. Yeah,
the guitar was. Who told you that? He's like, "Stack did." He's like, "No, that was our daddy's guitar."
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's got his old guitar back, and he starts playing, traveling again.
Uh-huh.
And Stack is sitting there. He's just listening, And, it's reminding him of all this stuff in the past, and, all this when they were driving in that car. And, so we get little flashbacks of that. When he's done playing, Stack and Mary get up and they start walking out, and Sammy stops him. He's like, "Hey, that day, other than the last few hours,
that's right.
That was the best day of my life."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Was that for you? Was it that way for you?" And Stack's like, "No doubt. That was the last time I saw my brother.
No doubt.
It was the last time I saw the sun." And then they walk out, and then Sammy just turns around and he goes back to drinking his whiskey, and then the rest of the credits roll. Now, did you stick around for the post-credit scene?
I did not go for the final credit scene, no.
So after the credits, there's another little stinger scene. Okay. It's back to a young Sammy before the events of the movie. Young Sammy before the events of the movie. He sort of walks over. He's got his guitar and he sits down.
He's playing.
He sits down in this chair and he's playing his guitar. He starts playing This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine. Well, they played that early in this movie.
They did. That's what the kids were singing.
Bring up.
That's what the children's choir was singing.
Yeah, we didn't bring that up earlier, but that's what they're singing.
No, we didn't. Yeah. So that's what they're singing. But he sings his rendition of This Little Light of Mine, which is more of a bluesy. It's a little more bluesy version of it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, so it's just, so he plays through the song and then, it fades to black.
Gotcha. Okay. So, nothing that's really adds to it.
Nothing really adds to it. It's just more music for it.
Noteworthy.
It shows just a little bit more of Sammy,
Yep. The guy comes and goes during the movie. Like, he's not in a big part of it for a while until they we gotta save him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But yeah, so that's Sinners.
That's Sinners. A good watch.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, I'm sure a lot of you have and some haven't. But when you get the chance, check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. And again, at least for me, it's one of those movies that the more I see it, the more I like it.
I think it's going to be the case for a lot of people. I know I'm probably a little bit more on the fence right now, but I don't like saying that because it sounds like I really dislike the movie when I don't dislike the movie.
That's how I was the first time I saw it too. I enjoyed it. It was a good movie. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that it lived up to the hype, but as I've watched it since then, I've grown to really like this movie. It's still not my favorite movie out there. It's there are better movies. There are movies that I prefer, but I've really grown to really appreciate this movie.
And even where I am right now, there's so much to admire about the movie. That's how I am. And you know what? I can live with that. It's so. And I'll eventually watch it again and see where I go from there.
Yeah. So, so that's Sinners. There are definitely elements of this movie that are fantastic. I love the music in it.
Yes.
I love the performances in it.
Some great acting. Nice homages.
Yeah. So, it's just, there's so much that's deeper than surface level in this movie.
Oh, absolutely. That's completely correct.
I mean, it goes much deeper into the vampire lore than at first glance.
It really, really does.
And I love that they brought it back to the original vampire rules.
I agree. Yes.
And that, it's not all like the Bela Lugosi style vampire.
Which is fine.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Bela Lugosi was a fantastic Dracula. But yeah. And once again, Jack O'Connell's performance was incredible.
It's an easy one to get overshadowed, but it's fantastic.
But yeah, so is there anything else that
I think that's it.
We missed?
I think we're good.
I think so too. So, that said, if you enjoy what you're hearing, check us out on our social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram and Threads. It is Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. The and is spelled out, A-N-D. It's not an ampersand like the name of the podcast. We're also on X or Twitter. It is R&T Cinematic. We are also on Letterboxd, so you can go on there and check out our reviews of various movies we have done on there. Some we've done on the podcast, some we haven't done, some we will do, some we won't do. That is Cine Adventure or Cine Adventure, C-I-N-E Adventure, and then send us an email at robandtonyscinematicadventure@gmail.com. Once again, the and is spelled out, A-N-D. It's not an ampersand like the name of the podcast. But let us know, what did you think of Sinners? Do you think it lived up to the hype? Do you think it didn't live up to the hype? What are your thoughts? Did you see it in the theater? Did you not see it in the theater? What kind of experience did you have seeing it? What do you think? We want to hear from you. And go to our social media, give us a like and a follow. Go to your favorite podcast app wherever you're listening to us. Give us a good rating, a good review. Hit that subscribe button. Things. But yeah, good ratings and reviews are how we move up in the standings and the search and the recommendations, all that, so that we can reach more ears, so that we can find more people that like to listen to us talk about these movies that we love. And yeah, so next time. So we recently lost another Hollywood legend just a week or two ago at the time of this recording.
It's been about 2 weeks, I guess. Yeah,
about 2 weeks or so. Week and a half
by the time this records.
Yeah,
or drops, I should say.
Yeah, that is sadly Diane Keaton has passed away. So the next movie that we're going to talk about is a Diane Keaton movie. Now, we had several to choose from, but the one that we decided on, go ahead and let everybody know what movie we decided on, Tony.
I think in the end, it was hard to not choose her most iconic role, the role she embodied. And then, I shouldn't say she kind of copied for herself. It's not fair. But the role she's associated with, as much as you might go for something like Father of the Bride. But in the end, Diane Keaton is also Annie Hall.
Yes.
So we will have our first Woody Allen movie. Why we recognize the greatness of Diane Keaton, who truly deserved her Oscar for this movie that we will do. So
yes, we will be discussing Annie Hall next. Now, I'm kind of excited for this one because I've never seen this movie, so it'll be interesting.
Well, I'm excited for you because
to
Woody Allen has his own style. He's not for everybody. Yeah. This is a more accessible one. But, it's still very much Woody Allen, so I want to see his response to this.
Well, you'll find out next time. So, thank you all for listening, and join us next time for Annie Hall.